To help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Built Right. One location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Traffic is sponsored by Hair Construction.
If your home has a septic or mound system, you're invited. Join Hair Construction for a free seminar on keeping it working right. Visit HerrCorp.com for details.
The crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
1-2 pitch, high fly ball, left field, inside the pole, gone, Jackson Churio.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts tonight at 7:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
I'm John Mercure. Your top story: economic shockwaves felt worldwide.
I'm Julia Fellow. Crime trending downward in Milwaukee.
Ozaga northbound on 43, starting off with delays from north of Fond du Lac Avenue up to Keefe. Southbound, a little bit just from Keefe down towards Burleigh, and then again right through the Marquette onto the high-rise bridge. Westbound 94 slowing down from 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 41, a little bit heavy between Silver Spring all the way down past Hampton. I'm Debbie Lozigo with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 31. Tomorrow, a little rain snow mix, a high of 41. It's currently 37. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, President Trump's trade tariffs continue to send shockwaves across the globe.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says additional tariffs of 50% against China are non-negotiable.
They will be going into effect at 12:01 a.m. tonight, so effectively tomorrow.
That means overall tariffs against China will rise to 104%, since China says it will retaliate. At the same time, President Trump believes China wants to talk.
If China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
Adding countries are, quote, falling over themselves to work out deals as well. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Meanwhile, Canada announcing counter tariffs will begin on products made here in the U.S. beginning at midnight.
I'm Matt Piper. Canada says it will start imposing a 25% tariff on certain U.S. auto imports beginning tonight at 12:01 a.m. The retaliatory measure is in response to President Trump's levies on foreign-made cars and trucks. Canada's finance minister says in a statement, Canada continues to respond forcefully to all unwarranted and unreasonable tariffs. Canadian officials say the tariffs will apply to about 10% of all vehicles shipped from the U.S.
In Milwaukee, Police Chief Jeffrey Norman detailing the crime data from the first few months of 2025.
Part 1 crime is down 12%. Non-fatal shootings decreased 15%. Carjackings decreased 12%. These are good trends. They should be recognized.
Part 1 crimes are forms of violent crime in the city, including aggravated assaults, arson, and carjackings. Slight increase in homicides and a 50% increase in human trafficking compared to 2024.
A former Wisconsin State Supreme Court justice who spread election conspiracies has agreed to surrender his law license.
The agreement Monday comes after the State Office of Lawyer Regulation filed a 10-count complaint last November against Michael Gableman, accusing him of misconduct during a probe. The complaint stems from Gableman's investigation into allegations of fraud related to the 2020 presidential election that now President Trump narrowly lost in Wisconsin. The state Supreme Court ultimately could revoke Gableman's law license completely, though the court rarely administers such a harsh punishment for attorneys. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Local artist getting his spotlight on fame during the NFL draft. Wood sculptor Ike Winter was hired by the NFL to put together logos of all 32 teams in reclaimed wood. Winters tells WTMJ spanning the state the process he went through.
I spent about 3 weeks straight just finding wood, not cutting at all. It was while we were in negotiations of the contract and figure out how each of these teams' logos would look in a wood format. And they had to kind of create those renderings of the colors. And while they were doing that, I just collected, it was like 50 pieces of furniture.
Winter's art will be seen as players go through the walkway to the draft stage.
Coming up, a decades-long celebrity feud comes to an end.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 3:05.
April Brewers action rounds out with the matchup against the Tigers and Athletics. Catch the series opener April 14th as the first 10,000 fans get a Brewers t-shirt designed by Unfinished Legacy. Then get Brewers collectibles at back-to-back games against the Athletics. First up, Peanuts Night on April 18th, featuring a Franklin Bobble with special tickets. And don't miss a Brewers football jersey for the first 25,000 fans April 19th. Get set for an action-packed April at Brewers.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we believe in making the most of what you love, making sure your money is as well spent as your time. So as you start your spring projects, we have the value you need to make them your own. Right now, Rewards members get a free $10 gift card with an $80 estate fertilizer purchase, $5 off 3-pound bags of estate grass seed, just $9.99, plus new colors of men's and women's Carhartt pocket tees, 2 for $30. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint? It's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 3:07.
A decades-long feud between a couple of pop stars is over.
Madonna says that when she found out Elton John was performing on Saturday Night Live with Brandi Carlile last weekend, she decided she'd be there and confront him backstage. She says the first thing out of Elton's mouth was, "Forgive me." After she confronted him about years of public insults, Madonna posted a picture to social media of the two hugging. She says Elton told her he wrote a song for her and wants to collaborate. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New York.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. The Brewers begin a 6-game road trip tonight in Denver with the first of 3 against the Rockies. Pat Murphy's team, is 5-5 after an 0-4 start. Coverage of tonight's game begins at 7:05 on WTMJ. And just 4 games remain on the Bucs' regular season schedule, including tonight against the Timberwolves. Bucs forward Bobby Portis is eligible to return after a 25-game suspension.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 3:08.
Tax tips are brought to you by the Neal Group. For less stress with the IRS, visit nealgroup.net. That's Neal
Hi,
Group.
this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group. Tax tip number 3. Do you know who you may be able to claim as a dependent? It is not only your children, plus they don't have to live with you the entire year. Qualifying relatives include parents, foster children, adopted children, brothers, sisters, and other relatives. As a general rule, you must provide over half of their support to be able to claim someone as a dependent. In a divorce situation, the non-custodial parent needs to have Form 8332 signed by the other parent in order to claim that child. This is regardless of what the divorce agreement says. Also, watch out if you have children in college. They may file a tax return claiming themselves. Many times it gives the child no benefit and causes your return to be rejected by the IRS. Good communication is essential in these cases to prevent problems. For more information on this tip and other tax tips, go to nealgroup.net. or stop in and see us.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. Happy New Year. How's business? Do you really know? We recently worked with several clients who thought they knew, but didn't because their books were not in order. Imagine thinking you were making $1 million, but because your books are a mess, you were really only making $200,000. Quite a difference. Imagine finding out expenses were not properly recorded or sales were double recorded. If these happen to you, we can help. We work with our clients to clean up their books and give them the information they need to know where their business is now and where it is going in the future. Don't wait. Start on the path to less stress. more cash in your pocket, and no more sleepless nights. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit neilgroup.net today to book a meeting. We can talk over Zoom, the phone, in our office, or your place of business. Yes, we like to visit our business clients. Don't wait any longer. Call 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
All right. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Those tax tips are very useful, aren't they?
Oh, my goodness. I'm writing down
That's
everything.
Good. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I got a whole library of tips over here.
I haven't
Very
finished
helpful.
my taxes, John.
Oh, well, that's serious. You better. Julia.
John.
They're due 1 week from today.
Yeah.
Nerds! Well, go to the Neil Group, nealgroup.net. They can help you out.
Yes.
All right. What are we doing today? Let's get to it.
This is the 3 at 3 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Oh, I know. The bell just rang, and it's not good, everybody. It's not good. After being up more than 1,000 points earlier today, the Dow ended down 320 points. The NASDAQ was off 335 for the NASDAQ. That's over 2% again today. The S&P was down 1.5%. It's not good. It's not good. We talk tariffs and the destruction it's causing to our economy with ABC's Olivia Rubin coming up at 3:15 this afternoon.
All right, number 2. This is really interesting. The hands-off rallies that took place across our nation Saturday to protest the actions of President Trump and his billionaire advisor, Elon Musk, including Milwaukee, took place. There was about 9,000 people, but then there's a photo that's going around, circulating online, said to be Milwaukee's hands-off rally. It's really the 2021 Bucks Championship.
Oh, no.
It's in Deer District.
Yikes.
That crowd in Deer District in 2021 had 65,000 people.
Yeah, that was huge. That was huge. Oh, my gosh. That's terrible. They're using that photo?
You can clearly see a sea of green, John.
Yeah.
And Journal Sentinel is reporting about that. It's a site on Twitter called Anonymous, and it has 27,000 likes, 7.3 thousand retweets.
Whoa.
So I thought that was really interesting, and it was all fake. But it really happened, just, a lot less
just
people.
not when they said, yeah. Hey, the third thing in the 3 at 3 is pretty cool, too. A species of wolf that died out 12,000 years ago is back alive as the world's first successfully de-extincted animal. So it's called the dire wolf, and it went extinct, like I said, 12,000 years ago, now using ancient DNA from fossils, cloning and genetic editing technology from the gray wolf. The prehistoric dire wolf is back alive. Pups have been born for this little baby wolf.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. Dire wolves were larger than the gray wolves we have. They had a bigger head. They had thick fur, strong jaws, and they were very, very destructive.
What's the point of this? Are we putting them out in the wild?
They're not even telling us where they are. There are 3 of them right now, and they're living on a 2,000-acre site at an undisclosed location. Because people try to steal them or do something weird. By the way, the same group of scientists is working on resurrecting the mammoth, the dodo bird, and the Tasmanian tiger.
Oh.
They say they're using the same technology, and they may bring those things back to life. Maybe they can bring the stock market back to life. Why don't they resurrect the stock market, which is looking like it's going extinct these days? It is 3:13 at WTMJ. We talk tariffs with ABC investigative reporter Olivia Rubin. Up next.
A whole day dedicated to us?
No, dedicated to you, the WTMJ fan.
Come celebrate WTMJ with us, your favorite WTMJ host, at a private tailgate at the Brewers game Saturday, May 17th.
Enjoy food, drinks, and hanging out with us. Plus tickets to the Brewers game as they take on the Twins at AmFam Field.
Get more information and secure your tickets at WTMJday.com.
Tickets will go fast, so sign up today. We'll see you at the ballpark for WTMJ Day, Saturday, May 17th.
Hey, John Mercure here for one of my very favorite companies because they're just the best at what they do. It's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You know, there's buzz surrounding the draft. The draft is coming up the 24th. You're not going to find a draft seeping through Pella's windows and doors. No, you won't. In fact, you should make Pella your number 1 pick because right now they've got a great deal going at Pella. They've got the best product and they've got the best installers. Now they've got the best finance option. Check this out. No interest financing or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. Make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. They've got dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles. I love their stuff. It's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Durable and distinguished. All Pella products stand the test of time, which is why they also boost the best wood warranty in the industry. So check it out right now. No interest financing, no interest or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Check it out at PellaWI.com.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield. 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Traffic and weather. Let's get out to Debbie Lazaga. How's that ride rolling, Deb?
Well, we are seeing delays northbound 43, basically from Fond du Lac Avenue all the way up to Keefe. The southbound side slowing down from Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette as well. We got some westbound 94 delays from 25th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound on 41 slows down just before Hampton, and it stays slow all the way past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 31. Tomorrow, rain-snow mix, a high of 41. Thursday, rain-snow mix, 42. On Friday, sunny, 46. And Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 52 degrees. It's currently 37.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News podcast is sponsored by Dave Drake Camp Heating. Your comfort is their family's tradition. Visit DaveDrakeCamp.com.
Oh, all right, let's get into it. It's the market, it's tariffs, it's the market. They're kind of married to each other at this point. The Trump White House saying deals could come very quickly. Those who hold 401k stocks hope they do come quickly. ABC's Olivia Rubin, investigative reporter, is with us from the nation's capital. What's the deal on this, Olivia? Are they talking to other countries?
Yeah, well, according to a number of administration officials, 50, 60, 70 countries have now called the United States looking to start negotiations, looking for deals. The United States Trade Representative happens to be on Capitol Hill today answering questions from senators, and he said he personally had gotten calls from 50 countries looking to talk and that they're working days and nights and weekends to try to get this done. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that some of these deals could come very soon, but the question really is how soon is that going to be? It doesn't seem like there's an appetite from the White House to pause any of these tariffs or to pull them back while the negotiations get underway. So the question really is how long can these tariffs withstand while the administration negotiates, if they can get to a deal at all?
And which countries are coming to the table and which are not? Like Canada just announced counter tariffs that's going to begin on products made here in the U.S. at midnight.
Yeah, I mean, countries that the administration says want to chat, of course, include Israel. We saw Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House yesterday saying he was looking to break down trade barriers. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says that officials from Vietnam are coming in. They said that Japan is sending a delegation to be able to negotiate. But of course, I think one of the biggest questions really is going to be China. China, of course, announced retaliatory tariffs, which made the Trump administration double down, and they're now enforcing a 104% tariff rate on China because of that retaliatory measure. So certainly very different sort of reactions from different countries in the United States in very different places with some of them.
Does the market reaction matter at all to the White House? I mean, we're watching a live picture right now, Olivia.
Right.
Donald Trump is speaking on energy in the coal industry with people in the industry lined up behind him. He's been speaking for 20 minutes and has not mentioned at all what's happening with the market, which basically slammed to a halt at the end of the day. Does the market reaction matter at all to this White House?
Well, look, certainly it doesn't help. You've started to see some cracks, even amongst their supporters on Capitol Hill, staunch Republican supporters of the president, saying what's going on here. The market is a problem. Of course, they don't want people looking at their 4Ks. They don't want their own supporters looking at their 401Ks and saying what's going on here. Retirees who are worried. President Trump has sort of referred to this as a sickness, and you have to take some medicine and it will, come back up. He seems to think that in the long run, it's just, a temporary blip that might correct itself. But, there is starting to, be projections from economists saying, odds of a recession are going up, and the longer you wait, the harder it is to undo some of what's being done.
Olivia, you'd think that we'd have at least one country announced where progress is being made. We made a deal with, Israel yesterday, or Japan. When do you think the first deal will be made?
It's so hard to make any bets with this White House, but, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked about this today. How long could it take? Could it be weeks? Could it be months even to get these deals? And she sort of jokingly said that the White House is moving at Trump speed, which she said, as everyone knows, is very fast. Trump does like to get things done pretty quickly. But again, if they had a deal, they would have likely announced it. These deals likely or possibly could calm down the markets. We saw that Secretary Bessent's comments this morning about deals seemed to make them go up a little bit. But again, nothing has been announced, but they say that they are moving quickly.
I want to ask you what we know about the real goal of the White House here with this kind of as the backdrop. So they're indicating that they're open to deals. They're talking to other nations, notably Japan and Vietnam and a couple of others. At the same time, Donald Trump says he doesn't want to make deals. He says this is about changing fundamentally the economy and the global makeup of how trade happens. Can both happen at the same time, making deals, but still making sure that the model changes?
Well, that's exactly what, the White House was asked today, if both can be true. And Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said both can be true. Even President Trump yesterday said both can be true. He was asked if the tariffs are negotiable or if they're permanent. He said both can be true. We're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country. And if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States. So again, the messaging on this has been shifting. You're absolutely correct about that. But at the bottom line, what the president always goes back to is this idea, about bringing manufacturing back to the country, various things like that. So it kind of seems like that's part of the issue. Trade deficits are part of the issue. Again, it's a lot of things wrapped up into one, and the messaging hasn't always been in a straight line.
How much pressure, especially with the Asian markets, for example, is China feeling? That's the big one. How much pressure is China feeling? Anything, or?
You've got to think they're feeling something, but they certainly have been, sort of staunch in their reaction. They said that, they're not really going to be sort of essentially bullied into making a deal. And they sort of were asked about Trump's retaliatory tariffs on their retaliatory tariffs. And they said it didn't seem to be a true negotiating posture, that if the United States really wanted to be negotiating with China, they would come at it in a different way. But certainly it's one of the countries that dug their heels in more than, say, a Vietnam or, say, an Israel or, say, a Japan, certainly.
ABC's Olivia Rubin in Washington. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So at that presentation at the White House right now, Donald Trump is beginning to talk about the $2 billion a day in tariffs that he says that we will begin to take in. Pressure on the White House now. This is all anybody wants to talk about. He wants to talk about coal in Pennsylvania. People want to talk about the 401k. He wants to talk about bringing the Super Bowl champs to the White House. People want to talk about their stock investment. So we will continue to monitor this for you. Much more on it as we head through the afternoon. Let's just look at the markets. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow ended up down 320 points. That's almost 1%. The NASDAQ was down 335. That is more than 2%. The S&P 500 was down 79 points. That is 1.5% on the day. Financial planning at every level. You need it now more than ever. It's Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Know the difference with Annex.
Save big money on your next project with help from Menards. Be prepared for flooding and keep your basement dry with Barracuda sump pumps. Barracuda makes high-quality pumps that offer dependable performance for when you need it most. Save big money on all Barracuda sump pumps now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Life is sweeter with better hearing. I know. I'm experiencing it firsthand because I hear better. That's thanks to my friends at Vita Hearing Care. It's VitaHearingCare.com. Went in with Michelle. I love this. They made Michelle go with me so she could actually be there to see how bad my hearing is and understand what I need to do with the state-of-the-art hearing aids they gave me to make sure I hear better. At Vita, locations in Mount Pleasant and Waterford. Easy to get there, locally family-owned. Jeff and Cynthia, the owners, are incredible. They walked me through the process, and I'm hearing better. I'm actually hearing better. I can't believe how easy it is. I can't believe the difference it is. I can't believe how long I went with not being able to hear great. It's VitaHearingCare.com, VITA HearingCare.com. It's Vita.
Jake suffered with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Tingling, numbness in my hands and fingers, not sleeping well at night, tossing and turning, trying to manage with pain pills and stretching, and it just wasn't helping.
He didn't want the traditional invasive carpal tunnel surgery.
I had seen people with the bandages and scars and clubs for hands. I just don't have time to be incapable of doing things for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
Then he learned about the Ovation Hand Institute and the Ovation Technique, an ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office.
I wanted to get it looked at sooner than later. So I had the virtual consult. It was very thorough as far as like I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was booked for the procedure 2 weeks later, had my right hand done. Very quick procedure. It was really great. That very night when I went home, it was the first time in probably 3 months my hand did not wake me up.
Book an appointment with the Ovation Hand Institute and find out if you're a candidate for the Ovation Technique.
Probably the most surprising thing was how quickly I was able to do things again. I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing yard work and all that kind of stuff the next day.
Visit OvationHand.com. OvationHand.com.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Market shifts, economic uncertainty, and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. No doubt, standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil, and we're totally on board with that. But retirement planning isn't a set-it-and-forget-it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized financial, retirement, estate, and tax plans that adapt as needed and put your goals first always. Already with another firm, but getting the feeling you're lost in the shuffle or they just can't keep up? A second opinion could be the smartest move you could make. If you're managing it yourself, we'll fill in the gaps with professional precision. You work hard to build your future. Don't leave it to chance. Put a pro on your side. Get a proactive plan from a fee-only fiduciary. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics, chronic joint pain. You know what living with chronic joint pain is like? It's like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good, right? So forget trying to do the things you enjoy like golfing or hiking or tennis. You're just trying to get by. But there is something you can do. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Milwaukee are on the case and focus on getting you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that can help calm the debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you're curious if you'd be a candidate, the consultation is totally free, and they do have appointments on Saturdays. So here's the number. Call QC Kinetics at 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
We're sponsored by the Wisconsin State Fair. Big Group Save Big. Deals end April 27th.
Big Group save big at Wisconsin State Fair. Take advantage of discounted group tickets for parties of 25 or more at wistatefair.com. Hurry, deals end April 27th.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 3:30. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, a promising trend for Milwaukee.
I'm Julia Fellow, giving the go-ahead to restart deportation flights.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Eastbound on 94, starting to see delays from 76th Street, pretty much all the way through the Stadium interchange past 35th Street. The westbound side, you're looking at delays out of the Marquette all the way to about Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43, watch for delays starting at North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette. Northbound, you're looking at delays from about Kilbourne all the way up to Keefe. And still seeing delays southbound on 41. Right now, it's from Appleton Avenue all the way down past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Cloudy tonight with a low of 31 degrees. A rain-snow mix. Tomorrow, the high will be 41. Right now, it's sunny and 36 degrees in Milwaukee.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, senators pushed for clarity on President Donald Trump's tariffs today during a hearing. News Nation's Joe Khalil.
We hear a lot about concerns over the markets, over people's 401ks, and potentially prices going up. But what we don't often hear about are potentially national security implications that come from this. That's what Senator Warner there was focused on, talking about how our strategic partnerships economically lead to better partnerships when it comes to security, and that diminishing those could certainly lead to the U.S. missing out on important intelligence sharing and that kind of thing.
Some want to revoke the president's power to raise tariffs.
The Supreme Court allowed the president to deport Venezuelans under wartime law, only after a judge's review. News Nation's Elena Shirazi.
We did just hear from the White House press secretary during that briefing saying that they essentially stand by every single person that they have deported thus far, also applauding that Supreme Court ruling. But here she is in her own words during the briefing.
The highest court in the land made it clear that the President of the United States has the power to protect our homeland and forcibly remove foreign terrorists who pose a grave threat to families and communities.
Notable, though, as part of the Supreme Court decision, anyone ordered to be deported under the Alien Enemies Act has to have their day in court first.
Any challenges to the wartime law must take place in Texas.
At least 44 people have died. More than 140 are being treated for injuries after a roof collapsed at a nightclub in the capital of the Dominican Republic.
The roof collapse happened at the Jet Set Club in Santo Domingo. Video posted to social media shows the roof quickly falling as merengue singer Ruby Perez was performing. His saxophonist is among those killed. Hundreds of rescue personnel combed through the ruins as trapped people cried out for help from the debris. Local media says as many as 1,000 people were inside when it happened, some Major League Baseball players among them. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Crime is trending down in Milwaukee. Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Violent crime is down 18% when compared to the first quarter of 2024. We did see a small increase as it relates to homicides, and that's certainly a concern.
Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman.
For this quarter, there were 2 more homicides than at the same time last year. And as I've always said, 1 homicide is 1 too many.
Most alarming trend is a 50% increase in human trafficking compared to last year.
The CEO of Harley-Davidson announcing today's his plans to retire.
Jochen Seitz is leaving after 5 years with Harley-Davidson. He's 62 years old. He'll remain at the helm until Harley's board identifies his successor. Seitz started in 2020. He owned a condo here but lived in New Mexico. Seitz leaves at a challenging time for the company. Harley had a net loss of $117 million in Q4, and it also now faces tariffs on both aluminum and steel. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. 4 games remain on the Bucks' regular season schedule, including tonight against the Timberwolves. Bucks forward Bobby Portis is now eligible to return after 25-game suspension. Here tonight's game on 94.5 ESPN at 7 o'clock. After an off-day Monday, Brewers are back at it, taking on the Rockies. Brewers and Rockies tonight on WTMJ Radio. Our coverage starts at 7. First pitch is just after 7:30.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 3:35.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Griffin Hub in Milwaukee. Savings this April at Griffin's Hub big time. They've got 120 new cars on the ground right now, from the practical Pacifica and the iconic Wrangler to the luxurious Grand Wagoneer. Those are great-looking vehicles. And the powerhouse Ram truck, your compass points south to South 27th Street when you're looking for a brand-new 2025 Jeep Compass. All trims available, outstanding selection. Explore the city or the trail in a Jeep Wrangler or check out the Jeep Gladiator. Man, they are great-looking vehicles. They've got them right there on the lot. Great selection. They've also got a great service department at Griffin's Hub right now for just $1 over cost. You can buy brand new tires. Free tire repair, lifetime tire rotation. Cannot be combined with any other tire offers. Tires must be mounted, balanced, and installed at Griffin. See Service Advisor for details. They've got the hybrids in stock. They've got the full gas models in stock. They've got them on the lot, ready for delivery. It's Griffin Hub in Milwaukee. Check them out today.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Okay, so this is an interesting story. Donald Trump and the White House apparently would like a parade to take place on Flag Day. At least they're floating the idea.
Military parade on his birthday, too. It's also the 250th anniversary of the Army?
Yeah, the Army. All on the same day. So he floated this idea in 2018. They wanted a big old parade that would have went from the Pentagon down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House. This was Donald Trump talking about that, saying he got inspiration after seeing a French military parade down the Champs-Élysées. Listen to Trump.
I was your guest at Bastille Day, and it was one of the greatest parades I've ever seen. It was 2 hours on the button, and it was military might, and I think a tremendous thing for France and for the spirit of France. And to a large extent, because of what I witnessed, we may do something like that on July 4th in Washington, down Pennsylvania.
So it was canceled because of potential cost to the parade. $92 million.
Yep.
It was pushed off to 2019. Didn't happen. But do you want to know what it looked like?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5,000 to 7,000 service members would have taken part, which would have begun at the U.S. Capitol and end at the White House. So maybe that's what it'll look like if it happens on June 14th. There was also going to be a nod to the evolution of women in service, and the parade would have had 100 wheeled vehicles instead of tanks. So, and heavy air, like 50 aircraft.
So they've done this before. They've done it 2 other times, most notably. They did it in the middle of World War II, actually. And they did have tanks and armored personnel carriers rolling through the streets. Planes flying overhead. We have pictures right now if you text the word WATCH to 855-616-1620. If you want to see pictures of the parade from 1942.
That's the head of the president right there.
Yep, Franklin Roosevelt. Also, they did a parade in 1991 after the Gulf War ended. Following the Gulf War, it was the Great Victory Parade. So we did a parade in Washington then. We don't typically do this in the United States. When you think of military parades, you think of places like Russia. You think of the North Koreans with flatbed trucks with big missiles rolling down the middle of the street and guys marching in lockstep. We don't usually do that here. I have no problem with this. I think show it off. Let the world see what we have. You want some of this? This is what you're going to get. If cost is a problem, I don't think taxpayers should pay for the parade. I agree with that. Raise the money through private donations. $100 million to put on the parade? Elon Musk could write that right now. He probably carries that in his wallet. If cost is the concern, there would be ways to raise the money.
I thought about questions about this, but Brandon made a really good point. like the air show, the Thunderbirds. It's incredible to see that in person. So it would show off all the military experience. You want to know the most intimidating aircraft I ever heard in person?
What?
Okay, it was a Chinook. The percussion, I'll give you it here. And then it sounds like a jet going by.
Yeah.
So I saw that in person following President Trump in Marine One during his first term. He landed at Snap-on Tools in Kenosha County, and there were 2 of them. It is intimidating, John.
Yeah, those are big. What do you think? Military parade or not? 855-616-1620. 855-616-1620 is the Siding Unlimited WTMJ talk and text line. Is a military parade a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Should we have a parade? Let's take cost out of it, okay? Let's assume it's going to be paid for, because it would be paid for. There would be a way to raise the money. Washington's mayor says this is a terrible idea. It'll do damage to the streets. You can't have tanks rolling through the streets. Our roads aren't made for that anymore. The asphalt would be damaged. Is it a way to show off our national pride? Is it a way to flex our muscle? Or is it a dumb thing to do?
It would be highly produced, John, if Trump's involved.
If Trump's involved, the staging of a military parade in the nation's capital would be unlike anything we've ever seen before. All right, let's read a couple of texts here. From the 414, it's a good idea, but we should fix the economy first. I agree with that, but we can do 2 things at once, right? We're not just sitting in the White House working on one thing and that's it, as evidenced by the president right now holding an energy event with coal workers as the market trends down. From the 712, absolutely not. Don't like the idea. I think that we associate it with communist nations. We associate it with people trying to prove something, but I think it could be a thing of pride. I think if it's paid for by someone else and we're celebrating the Army's 250th birthday, it happens on Flag Day,
Trump's
it's in the middle of
birthday.
summer, then let's go. Brandon's a veteran. What do you think, Brandon?
For that last texter, if that's how you truly feel, then you're living in the wrong country.
Well, here's another one for you, Brandon. From the 920, this is what dictators do. From the 414, no parade because Trump is destroying the American pride.
Well, except the one that dictators do. He said that he was inspired, to your point with the soundbite you just played, John,
Right.
that he was inspired by Francis.
Someone else texting in, it should be paid for by Trump himself. All right, we all agree that taxpayers shouldn't pay for it. But if people want to donate money to pay for it, then that's their choice. If Elon Musk, if average grandma in Beaver Dam wants to write a $20 check because she wants to see the armored personnel carrier rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue, then she should be allowed to do that. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. Charles Benson is with us here in the studio. We've talked a lot about tariffs. How is our senatorial delegation, our 2 U.S. senators, wading through this, thinking about this? What are they saying? Charles is with us up next.
The leader in the dugout, the skipper, the man who riles up the crew with his words of inspiration.
You mean my old ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's our guy. Brewers manager Pat Murphy joins Wisconsin's Morning News every Tuesday at 8:45 for Brewers 360.
We're a team that the other team's going to feel us. You know, you're not going to walk away from a series and not be felt. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Hey everybody, it's Debbie Loziga, and I am so excited because I've chosen to get my microphone straightened out. Here we go. I've chosen Kohler Services to transform my old bathtub into a beautiful new Luxstone shower this month. Kohler Services makes it so easy. They came out to my home, took measurements, they answered all of my millions of questions that I had. I was able to actually feel the crushed stone material that they're going to be making the walls out of, and they designed my custom shower right in front of me. I cannot wait for the installation. And remember, you can request a free quote for a custom Kohler Luxstone shower by visiting KohlerServicesWI.com. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Siding Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, John Mercure here. I've got a great trip I'd love for you to be on with me. I'm going with listeners to the South called America's Music City for the holidays. It's early December. We're going to put you in the Christmas spirit big time. I love these cities. New Orleans, Memphis, and Nashville will discover America's musical legacy wrapped in dazzling lights, seasonal decor. It's going to be incredible. The soulful city of New Orleans with the vibrant French Quarter will be there, all decked out for the holidays. Then it is on to Memphis, the birthplace of the blues. I've never been to Graceland, Elvis Presley's Graceland. We'll do that, decked out for the holidays. And then Opryland Resort in Nashville, where we will make chocolate, a cozy horse-drawn carriage ride. It's America's Music Cities for the holidays. Let me send you a brochure. I've got information including pricing, all the details, john@WTMJ.com. You send me an email at john@WTMJ.com. Our travel company, Colette, takes care of all the details, flights, meals, hotels, local experiences. Michelle and I are there to make sure that you have a great time. Come with us. john@WTMJ.com. You send me an email. I send you all the information. America's Music Cities, the Christmas lights, the history. Space is limited. john@WTMJ.com.
With over 57 years of experience, family-owned Yutka Fence installs high-quality fencing with residential options, including vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, and ornamental fences. Committed to craftsmanship and customer service, Yutka Fence doesn't just build fences, they build relationships based on care, trust, precision, and protecting what matters most. Mention you're a WTMJ fan for 10% off your project. Schedule your free estimate today at yutkafence.com or call 262-859-3226.
Traffic is sponsored by the Heiser Automotive Group. For convenient car shopping and financing, visit Heiser Automotive Group at one of their 4 locations: Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Lincoln, and Cadillac. Or visit Heiser.com because today's your day.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lazaga, how are the roads?
Well, we got some good news and bad news. The good news is no incidents up on the board. The bad news is we got some pretty hefty delays just with that heavier volume. Eastbound on 94, we are slowing down from 92nd Street all the way through to the Stadium interchange. On the westbound side, it's slowing from 13th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43, watch for backups right from North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette down to the KK River. On the northbound side, backing up from Kilbourne all the way up to Keefe. And still hefty ride on southbound 41 just south of Appleton Avenue down past Capitol. Northbound is going to be slowing down just before you get to Mayfair Road, and that'll take you all the way up past Burleigh. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It's cloudy tonight with a low of 31. Rain, snow mix tomorrow and Thursday. The high will be 41. Mostly sunny Friday with a high of 46. Sunny Saturday with a high of 52.
Hey, let's talk tariffs and how our congressional delegation, specifically our senators, are handling the tariff discussion that they're undoubtedly getting from their constituents. Charles Benson is the senior national political reporter for Scripps News and chief political reporter for TMJ4. He's with us in the studio. Charles, good afternoon. How about we play some Ron Johnson and then have you weigh in on all
Sounds
this?
good.
This is from The Weekend. It's about his concern over how the tariffs have impacted stock markets.
I'm concerned. The stock markets are concerned. I'm concerned.
You are concerned about the stock market?
I don't have the president's strongly held belief that this is absolutely what has to be done. But he's president. I'm not. He ran on this, and I hope he's absolutely right.
And if he's not, then what happens next? What can Congress
Again, that's
do?
hypothetical. I can't. I'm hoping it all works out.
Senator Ron Johnson there said at the end, I hope it all works out.
We're all hoping it all works out. Charles, you've been looking into this all day today. What's going on with our 2 U.S. senators?
So with Senator Ron Johnson, the word I keep hearing out of him is concern, using words like, I hope he's right. Now, look, this is someone who's been very supportive of President Trump. And so he is in his camp in terms of wanting success out of this White House. On the other side of the equation, what I'm hearing from Senator Tammy Baldwin is the word crushing for Wisconsin when she looks at these tariffs on the impact of farmers, on manufacturing. And what you do get when you start talking about trade and tariffs, look, there's a lot of people say we need fair trade. There's a lot of people say we got to stop the cheating that happens. And they specifically refer to China. But what you're hearing out of Senator Ron Johnson is Is there an overreach? Where are you going with this? What's the end game here in terms of where does the president want to take this? And I think for Senator Tammy Baldwin is that the reaction has already been too much and too concerning for not only dairy farmers, but for manufacturing. I go back, Senator Johnson was part of a committee hearing yesterday on this, and he used the word to the White House people, focus, and he emphasized focus on the products we actually need, as opposed to using this broad instrument to be going to be used in this awful way. Let me get this right. This broad instrument, there's going to be, quote, an awful lot of people of collateral damage. Collateral damage is what he used here, because the unknown here is what is going to happen. You know, Will Sue, we've talked about him. I know you have too as well.
Ginseng farm.
He's the ginseng farmer up in the central part of the state. His ginseng is loved in places like China. He just saw his business, the cost of it, the product over there, go from 30% to 60%. He said, I never thought I'd be fighting in a war. He now feels like he's fighting in a trade war that he didn't start, but now he's a participant in it because of what's happening with the president. So when you look at a lot of where's the impact here, we're seeing it in the financial markets. The one thing financial markets do not like is uncertainty, and this has created uncertainty. This is the first time in 100 years in American policy that we have seen this kind of dramatic change in what tariffs will look like. It impacts companies like Harley-Davidson that do, global, have a global footprint. Just about everywhere you go, there is this impact on what this is going to mean. But the other thing that hasn't gotten a lot of the headlines is what Senator Johnson knows extremely well. He's in the manufacturing business. That's his background before he becomes a U.S. Senator. We are a manufacturing state, one of one or two in the country, right? We're big into this. And he keeps saying, if you're going to reshore all of these things, that are made somewhere else, and in a lot of cases at a lot lower expense, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to reshore all these. He's going to say his number one question is, where are you going to get the workers?
Right.
We don't have, in his estimate, a guy who's been in the manufacturing business since the 1970s. He's saying, look, I don't think there's enough workers to do all of this stuff that you want to reshore back here. Now, the White House is saying, look, there are those workers. Then there's going to be robotics. There's going to be a whole new landscape on how we manufacture things. But look, this issue has so passionately got people talking about it. Tammy Baldwin said this on the news the other day. She typically gets 50 to 100 calls a day. Mm-hmm. She's up to 1,000.
Wow.
Not only on this issue, but other things under the Trump administration. That's how things
Does Ron Johnson have any influence with the president?
Well, I think he does. But what I haven't seen is, is he privately saying things?
Right.
Is he trying to show him, hey, look, I'm a manufacturing guy. Bring me into the room. Bring me into the equation.
I know this. I live this life.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so, but when you've seen him in this interview that you just played, when you see other things he's saying, he's not there cheering on President Trump like, go for it. Let's see what happens. They all want better trade. They all want fair trade. But I think you're getting this concern. Even a guy like Chuck Grassley, right, the senator out of Iowa, saying, wait a minute, maybe we gave presidents too much power long before President Trump on the issue of tariffs. So it's really, I think, reignited a new debate over what are tariffs and why it does really impact us on Main Street, in rural America, all over. You want to go there, there's an impact.
So I spoke to, go ahead, Julia.
We're talking to Charles Benson. He's the chief political reporter for TMJ4 News. Charles, Republicans were so tight-knit. I thought, boy, this is probably the tightest I've ever seen in my lifetime. And now this is probably going to make them all fray.
I spoke to Glenn Grothman earlier today, Julia, to your point, and he was just like Ron Johnson. He wouldn't badmouth the president, but he doesn't like this policy. He doesn't like this idea, and he's very nervous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could this be a wedge issue?
It's being set up as that, and we're seeing this whiplash, sort of like, what the impact is going to be. How does it, fall into these manufacturing places? How does it fall on consumers? I was talking to a guy who laid out this scenario. Imagine you go in, you want to buy a car. And you're like, oh, I like this car. It's on the lot. So here's the price on the lot. But you're like, hey, do you have that in a different color? So the dealer goes back and looks like, well, we got one on the boat. There's one on the boat now because this car is made overseas. What's the price on the boat? Well, it all depends. Does it get here in time before the tariffs? Yep. And they're like, oh, there's one on the manufacturing line. Well, the one on the manufacturing line, and now you're looking at the price keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, Trump said that he was so annoyed last month with Canada that they were shipping all of these over the border to America, all of these cars. And then Jaguar Land Rover, to your point, in the UK, they're pausing any imports to the U.S. right now just to see how this shakes out just for the month.
So the question to me is, what will look like a win? How quickly will President Trump see what guys like what Senator Ron Johnson are saying or Chuck Grassley in terms of, how much power do we want to give a president? We're hearing that they're going to be renegotiating these tariff deals and what that looks like. So if the win here, and that's the other thing, too. I don't run a business. I don't pretend to be an economist. But when I talk to people in this business or who are, watching and are in the business of making money, predicting how much capital they're going to spend, not next month. They look out 6, 12, 18 months. And if they're in this big period of uncertainty, because is this a short-term thing? Are we talking like 30, 60 days, we get it all worked out? Or are we really going to rebuild the American economy like we've never seen before because we're going to reshore, bring back things that have no longer get manufactured here?
Great points. TMJ Ford chief political reporter Charles Benson. Always good perspective, Charles. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It is 3:56.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Jeff Sherman's weekday The Upswing Show on WTMJ Radio is shifting to weekends only and podcasts. WTMJ AM has yet to announce what will replace The Upswing. Appleton-based brewery Hop Yard Ale Works is opening a second location in Menomonee Falls. An opening date will be announced later. The Waukesha City Council approves a financial assistance package to help developer Mandel Group develop 219 apartments across from City Hall. Construction could begin later this year with completion by June 2028. I'm Logan Hansen for MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Sponsored by the Pfister Hotel. Make your reservations today. Visit thepfisterhotel.com.
For over 130 years, the Pfister Hotel in downtown Milwaukee has been delighting guests with impeccable service and extraordinary events. This spring, come together and celebrate with loved ones in the hotel's newly renovated Grand Ballroom. Experience the time-honored tradition of Easter brunch at the Pfister with delicious food, fun activities, and a special visit from the Easter Bunny. Or show your appreciation and create fond memories with a sensational Mother's Day brunch. Make your reservations today at thepfisterhotel.com.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike. During the nation's largest bike sale. That's right, the Wheel and Sprocket Bike Expo sale is back. And so is our trade-in, trade-up program, which means you can trade in your old bike for a gift card to use towards your new bike.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes. Over 2,000 brand new and used bikes on sale, along with thousands of accessories. From helmets and lights to car racks and more.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, trade in your old bike for a gift card towards a new bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 at the State Fair Park inside the Expo Center. Visit BikeExpoSale.com for details. Admission is free.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus promises hope even to the criminal being crucified alongside him. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grob. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. Our brothers and sisters who are imprisoned, sick, or disabled may feel like there is very little hope for them. We are to visit them, provide care for them, and be a sign of Jesus' hope in their lives. It's Lent. Please join us at Mass.
Hey, John Mercure here for Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. They're the best in the business. They have the top doctors in the area, the highest patient satisfaction ratings. They'll take care of you. They'll have you playing golf, playing pickleball, walking that dog, doing all the stuff with no pain like you absolutely deserve. Here's the deal. I've toured their facilities. I've met the doctors. They're quite simply the best, the highest certified. They have advanced diagnostics and the best staff. Go to ohow.com. That's OHOW.com. Request an appointment. It's that easy. There's no commitment. Request an appointment. Let them take care of you. ohow.com. OHOW.com. It's the Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious accident? It's free. Yes, free, as in it won't cost you anything to speak with us. There's never a fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
The crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
1-2 pitch, high fly ball, left field, inside the pole, gone, Jackson Chourio.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts tonight at 7:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 4 o'clock. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, closing out another wild day on Wall Street.
I'm Julia Fellows, surrendering his law license.
I'm Debbie Lazago. We got some delays along 41 southbound from Appleton Avenue down to Capitol Drive. More delays south of the Zoo interchange on the bypass down towards Greenfield Avenue, and then again from Oklahoma Avenue down and around the Hale towards Forest Home. Eastbound 94 backing up out of the Barker Road area towards Brookfield Road. Back on the brakes from the Zoo all the way into the Stadium interchange, with the westbound side of 94 backing up from 13th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 31. A little rain snow mix tomorrow, high of 41. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, another up and down day on Wall Street as the market lost all of its early gains and finished in the red.
Stocks once again saw heavy movement on tariff-related headlines, including the White House saying that 70 countries have reached out to the U.S. to start negotiating, while saying that 104% reciprocal tariffs will still take effect against China, with Beijing vowing to fight to the end. After being up more than 1,400 points, the Dow finished with a loss of 320, down to 37,645. The Nasdaq lost 335 points to 15,268, and the S&P dropped 79 points to 4982. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
At a White House signing event for an executive order concerning the coal industry, the president took time out to tout his tariffs.
I spoke to executives in the steel industry over the last few days, and they're all coming in to build plants in the United States of America, because if you build them in the United States, you have no tariffs to pay. There are no tariffs to pay, zero.
The president is using his emergency authority to allow some older coal-fired power plants to set for retirement to keep producing electricity to meet the rising U.S. power demand.
Meanwhile, Canada announcing counter tariffs that begin on products made here in the U.S. beginning at midnight.
I'm Matt Piper. Canada says it will start imposing a 25% tariff on certain U.S. auto imports beginning tonight at 12:01 a.m. The retaliatory measure is in response to President Trump's levies on foreign-made cars and trucks. Canada's finance minister says in a statement, Canada continues to respond forcefully to all unwarranted and unreasonable tariffs. Canadian officials say the tariffs will apply to about 10% of all vehicles shipped from the U.S.
In Milwaukee, Police Chief Jeffrey Norman detailing the crime data from the first few months of 2025.
Part 1 crime is down 12%. Non-fatal shootings decreased 15%. Carjackings decreased 12%. These are good trends. They should be recognized.
Part 1 crimes are forms of violence in our city, including aggravated assaults, arson, carjackings, you name it. But the most alarming trends was a slight increase in homicides and a 50% increase in human trafficking compared to last year.
Coming up, a new record set just in time for Easter.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 4:04.
Get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Hey, Gina,
Did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wildy? Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts.
Yeah, sure. Okay. No drafts. Got it. There's more than one draft?
No, but Pella should be everyone's number one pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades when you order by April 30th. Our talented designers and installers can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more, along with durable and distinguished details. All Pella products stand the test of time, which is why we confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Ends 4/30/2025.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Market shifts, economic uncertainty, and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. No doubt, standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil, and we're totally on board with that. But retirement planning isn't a set-it-and-forget-it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized financial, retirement, estate, and tax plans that adapt as needed and put your goals first always. Already with another firm, but getting the feeling you're lost in the shuffle or they just can't keep up? A second opinion could be the smartest move you could make. If you're managing it yourself, we'll fill in the gaps with professional precision. You work hard to build your future. Don't leave it to chance. Put a pro on your side. Get a proactive plan from a fee-only fiduciary. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 4:06.
Introducing the world's largest Cadbury cream egg.
Terry Collins was one of the two chocolatiers who made the record-sized egg at Cadbury World in Birmingham, England.
It took 2.5 days to make. It's 91 centimeters high and it's 45 kilograms.
That's about 3 feet tall and 100 pounds.
Very heavy, so no one can lift this off.
They made the chocolate egg in two halves, combined the two, then poured in the gooey fondant. Nathan Barnett is the general manager at Cadbury World.
We absolutely are honored to have that here.
It will be on display until April 27th. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks host the Timberwolves tonight. You can hear that game on 94.5 ESPN at 7. And here on WTMJ, it's the Brewers in Denver against the Rockies. That game starts at 7:05.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 4:07.
Experience one of the greatest choral masterpieces of all time when the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra and Milwaukee Symphony Chorus present the Brahms Requiem at the Bradley Symphony Center, April 11th through the 13th. MSO artistic partner Deshaun Burton and Sonia Headlam will be the soloists in this work, which will be conducted by music director Ken David Mazur. The Brahms Requiem is not so much a lamentation for the dead as it is a tuneful, comforting, heartfelt celebration of life. Complete performances of the work only come around every so often, so don't miss this special opportunity to revel in its romantic glory, April 11th through the 13th only. For tickets, call the MSO box office at 414-291-7605 or visit mso.org.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
All right, Julia, this number is huge. The Packers have invested more than $1 billion in Lambeau Field in the last 25 years. $1 billion.
Incredible.
Rich Ryman, the very talented writer for the Green Bay Press Gazette, is writing all about it. He's with us. Rich, good afternoon. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
So $1 billion in Brown County. What's the biggest 2 or 3 projects that they've spent money on?
Well, the biggest, of course, would be the South End Zone when they put that up. And you're going to ask me how much it is, and I'm going to tell you that I don't actually know. But they also spent several $100 million on their scoreboards, and they've built the Johnsonville Tailgate Center and a new security office, and they're redoing the concourse concession stands. So it's a lot.
And thousands of seats, John, that they had to add, that infrastructure alone.
Rich, how important was Bob Harlan in all of this work?
Oh, he was critical. If they had not passed the sales tax for the first $295 million that was spent to renovate Lambeau in 2003, none of the rest of this would have happened.
Are there big ticket items still on the list, Rich, when you think about, what still needs to be done at Lambeau?
Well, not as big that I know of right now. They're currently renovating the locker rooms, the home team locker room, and they're redoing some concession stands. That's the big thing right now. We'll see what happens once the draft is passed.
And they want to keep expanding their footprint, too. Have you heard about any of the homes they might buy out in the future?
No, they kind of don't telegraph that, in part because they don't want to have to pay more for them than they need to.
Right.
But they do keep purchasing properties, and I don't think they're done yet. They understand that owning the land around Lambeau is investing in whatever they decide to do in the future.
The Green Bay Press-Gazette's Rich Ryman is with us. Rich, how does the Green Bay campus that they've built, including some of what you and Julia just mentioned, compare to those in other NFL cities?
Well, we're different than a lot of other places, in part because we're not, and as they buy up this land, they're not as restrained as some of the places like, say, for instance, U.S. Bank Stadium, which is in downtown Minneapolis. The Packers can kind of reach out. The Titletown development was originally modeled after Patriot Place near the Patriot Stadium, but it's different than any of these other places in part because it has a very strong community element to it.
Absolutely. And Rich, does this speak to the amount of money that the Green Bay Packers have been able to make in the quarter century?
Well, it certainly speaks to the TV contracts, which allow them to operate the football team without having to take money out of their other revenue-generating operations, like Lambeau Field and the Atrium, which is busy year-round, and the lease money they get from the businesses in the Titletown district.
Rich, I'm amazed when you really think about how small Green Bay, Wisconsin is. I think we take it for granted, but all the other cities they play against, all the other places the teams visit, our stadium's not as fancy as the new ones in L.A. or Las Vegas, but it remains a jewel in the NFL crown. Why is that? Is it just nostalgia, or is it a great facility?
I think it's both. There is a strong element of nostalgia, and you hear that every time we have a nationally televised game here, and the announcers just talk about the history of Lambeau and how great it is. But they've also managed to make it a other than the bench seats, which are an exception, they have managed to make it a thoroughly modern stadium.
Rich Ryman, you can read his work in the Green Bay Press-Gazette. He writes about the business of the Packers, and there's a lot going on up there. Rich, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Have a good week.
And we go from this to a Wisconsin congressman proposing an end to public funding for sports stadiums. It's 4:13 on WTMJ. That's coming up next.
Join your boy Tori Lowe and the Truth Team for our community cleanup on Saturday, April 12th. Go to truthcommunitycleanup.com to sign up to volunteer at one of our 3 cleanup locations. Everyone who joins gets a free lunch provided by Cousin Subs. Register today by visiting truthcommunitycleanup.com. Bring the whole family to help clean our city. The Tori Lowe Cleanup is presented by 1MKE and sponsored by Cousin Subs, Ray's Coca-Cola, Landmark Credit Union, and Waste Management.
Hey, John Mercure here. I am super excited that spring's here because I get to see the great work that Landworks did in my yard last fall. It was beautiful in the fall. Oh my gosh, it's going to come to life because that's what Landworks does. Ideas that are fresh, solutions that stand the test of time. They've got the best people, and they've got the same crews that come to your house from beginning to end, making sure that your yard, your patio, the lighting is perfect. That's how Landworks rolls. A local company that cares about our communities. They'll take your yard and make it beautiful. Already have a beautiful yard? They'll take it to the next level. They do businesses. They do residential. They do it all. The teams I trust are at Landworks, Wisconsin.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car's not one of them. That national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
What? The car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adamm.com.
If a man calls another man crazy, it's a compliment. This is my buddy Joey's crazy. Joey's like, you're just being nice.
Jim Gaffigan, everything is wonderful.
Because if my wife was standing here and I was like, this is my wife, she's crazy, I'd be dead. And all of you would applaud. You'd be like, well, that was a teachable moment.
Jim Gaffigan, 6 shows at the Riverside Theater. Only tickets for this Sunday, April 13th. Tickets on sale now at patstheatergroup.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
Traffic and weather. Hey, Deb, how we doing?
Hey, John, we're seeing some delays in the Mitchell interchange, heading northbound on 94, swinging to the westbound 894 area, right through that Mitchell interchange. So watch out for those big delays. We've also got some backup southbound 43 from just south of Capitol Drive down towards Locust. Then you're back on the brakes just before Fond du Lac Avenue all the way down towards Lapham. The northbound side's backed out basically from Kilbourne, pretty solid all the way up to Keefe. Westbound 94 riders, watch for delays from 20th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound slowing down from 84th Street to 35th. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
And let's check out that forecast. Tonight it's going to be another chilly one, a low of 31 degrees. Tomorrow, rain-snow mix, a high of 41. Thursday, a little rain, snow early in the day, a high of 42. Friday, sunny, 46. Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 52 degrees.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News podcast is sponsored by Dave Drakamp Heating. Your comfort is their family's tradition. Visit DaveDrakamp.com.
All right, we're talking tariffs. We're talking national security. We're talking funding for stadiums. I had a conversation with U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman earlier today. Want to talk to you first off about what everybody's talking about, and that is the tariff situation. What is your general view about where we are with the tariff situation in our nation?
I do not want tariffs to become a significant source of revenue for the United States. Okay? I have heard within the last 48 hours, I've talked to a couple of industries who like the tariffs. And until then, overwhelmingly, business was opposed to the tariffs. I do think the tariffs could act like a national sales tax. It would be a problem. I think the reason we're a wealthier country than Europe is in our country we only tax income. In Europe, they tax both income and sales, which would be a problem. On the other hand, on a case-by-case basis, there's no question we've been getting the unfair share of the stick from other nations around the world. Okay, I talked to a metal fabricator, and they were sure that Vietnam was subsidizing their metals against us. So they were being treated unfairly, and I think on those type of things, Donald Trump can, on a case-by-case basis, make a case that they have to roll back their tariffs. So I guess if we're dialing back other people's tariffs, that's good. If we're just going to have blanket tariffs on every other country in the world or every other product in the world, it's going to increase inflation, and that we don't need.
Was it too much for the president to just come in with the hammer and say every single country's getting it, as opposed to what you just suggested, which is maybe case-by-case basis?
Well, I think what he'd say, and Donald Trump is looking out for the average guy. You'll notice everything he does compared to a more traditional politician is for the average guy. He's trying to gin up more jobs for the American worker, and that's his goal. And I think he's setting a high starting point for all these countries, and he wants to work its way down. If he works it on its way down and we wind up having no tariffs whatsoever between, say, the United States and Taiwan, that's a big victory for the United States. And that's where I hope we wind up.
What do you say to the average guy who's worried about his 401k or nervous about the stock market?
The stock market doesn't like uncertainty, right? And there's going to be uncertainty because nobody's fought for this type of thing before. It's not like we have a precedent. So a lot of people, because of the threat of uncertainty, they say don't buy stocks right now. But we'll see what this looks like a month from now or 2 months from now when we know exactly what Donald Trump plans on doing with these tariffs.
U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman is with us. I wanted to ask you about another measure that you're introducing that would stop paying for professional sports stadiums to build or renovate using public money. I'm surprised at how many of these projects really have public money involved. Tell me the impetus behind your bill.
Well, the owners of these sports teams are at least multi-hundred millionaires, and in some cases, probably in most cases, even trillionaires. What we're doing is we're allowing them to borrow money at lower rates than the average citizen would borrow money by taking advantage of the tax code in which it's not taxable if you have municipal bonds. And in essence, stadiums like the Brewers Stadium were paid for that way. I don't see any reason for the taxpayer to subsidize, put an additional subsidy on there on building these stadiums. I mean, why, of all the people who need help here in the tax code, why are we having, in essence, special provisions which give breaks to the billionaires who own these stadiums? So we want to get rid of that. I think it's a common sense thing. I think Donald Trump wants to do it. He's talked about we've had too many breaks for the owners of these teams. So if he's on board, we got a shot. On the other hand, some congressmen are kind of starstruck, and if they get a call from owners of their favorite sports team, maybe they'll buckle.
Green Bay, it just came out today, has put $1 billion in the stadium up there and into the area around there. They say without help, they wouldn't have been able to do that. How do you respond to that?
They may need help from the local taxpayer. They shouldn't be getting help on a national level by causing the interest that they pay to be less than the interest than the average guy pays in his house or the average business pays. And I mean, stop and think about it. I mean, to a degree, all sports stadiums are going to be affected by this, or all sports teams. Of all the businesses that need special treatment, and I'm gung-ho for manufacturing, I'll tell you that. Do you need special treatment for a business that's owned by trillionaires and whose employees are making $10 or $20 million a year? That seems ridiculous. Oh, we can't exist. Come on, give me a break. People are going to stop watching the NFL. They need a special tax break to keep going. They're pulling our leg.
Congressman, I know another thing that you've worked hard on is the student loan bailout situation. President Biden, when he was in office, wanted to wipe away a lot of debt. You want to protect taxpayers from that happening. Tell us about the Student Loan Bailouts Act.
Well, we want to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. We think we're going to still prevent a lot of what President Biden did by winning in court, but we're not always going to win in court. And there are some types of loan forgiveness that he put in there, loan forgiveness, say, for people working for the government and that type of thing. This is very costly. And Congress, who's got to deal with a budget in which we're right now borrowing 26% of everything we spend, Congress should have to sign off on this stuff.
And I want to end where we began, and that is with the conversation about the economy. Are you nervous with all the uncertainty and what's happening?
I'm a little nervous until we see how it shakes out. I think everybody's a little bit nervous. But like I said, I met with a businessman, a representative of a very sizable Wisconsin business just 15 minutes ago. And he was almost surprisingly positive on the tariffs and the effect it will have on American manufacturers competing with other businesses abroad. So there are pluses and minuses. I think we're going to see a lot more certainty in the next 2 months as to where we're going to wind up. I don't want it to become a long-term tax on the American people used to balance the budget. That'd be a mistake. On the other hand, if it's used to drive down other companies' tariffs, which President Trump assures us it will, I think that's good. I think if it's used to deal with Mexico and stop our drug problem, that's good. And I think we're going to know a lot more where this winds up in 4 or 5 weeks from now, and I think overall it's going to be a positive thing. I'm not worried about short-term changes in the stock market because the stock market doesn't like uncertainty, and you're going to have uncertainty whenever you change things.
That is U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman on WTMJ. All right, let's check out the markets. Tariffs all related to the markets. And how did they do today? Well, it was in the green for most of the day, ended in the red today. The NASDAQ was off 335. That's down more than 2%. The Dow was down 320. That's 1%. The S&P was off 79 points on the day. Annex Wealth Management, know the difference with Annex.
425 on WTMJ. We get you up to date on your news, traffic, sports, then a new term in the workplace, the Great Detachment. Why more than half of all employees say they feel no attachment at all to their workplace.
Get started on your painting project and save big money at Menards. Rust-Oleum's 5-in-1 spray paint lets you choose from 5 unique spray patterns with a twist of the dial, so you can get a professional finish on every project. Save big money on Rust-Oleum spray paint now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
All right, so in your house, 2 things that are critically important. The air you breathe, obviously, you want that to be in good shape. And the water that we drink, that we cook with, that we feed to our little dogs. The water. Guthrie & Fry protects the water in my house. It's budget conscious. It's super affordable. They treat their clients like family. The plumbers can handle the tough questions without a callback. Their water softeners, their RO filtration systems, they are the best. And they're local. Guthrie & Fry Water Conditioning. They know that better water makes a big difference at Guthrie & Fry. Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice, my choice, is Guthrie & Fry Water Conditioning.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, We're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike at the nation's largest bike sale. I'm Amelia Kegel with Wheel and Sprocket, and our Bike Expo sale is back at the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds this weekend inside the Expo building. Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes, all on display and ready to ride. So whether you're seeking health and wellness, adventure and fun, or just a new hobby, the path to your new journey leads to the Bike Expo sale. And remember, all of our bikes come with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, which means you can ride it for 30 days. And if you don't love it, we'll refund your money.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 inside the Expo Center. Visit bikeexposale.com for details. Admission is free.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected varieties Stone Ridge ice cream, 2 for $7. 18 to 24.6-ounce selected varieties Vandecamp's fish, $4.49. 4.5 to 5.3-ounce selected varieties Dan and Greek yogurt, 5 for $5. 9.5 to 10.75-ounce selected varieties Hostess mini donuts, 2 for $4.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers. Safe.
Okay. Ooh. Pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
Buy one dinner, get one free tonight at the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club, including steak and lobster. And desserts are buy one, get one free. Tables are open, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 4:31. I'm John Mercure. Your top story: an executive order to expand coal production.
I'm Julia Fellow, fighting food insecurity among college students.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Big delays heading north and southbound on 43. The northbound side slowing down over the high-rise bridge through the Marquette up to Keefe, southbound from Keefe all the way down through the Marquette over the high-rise bridge. Bookends. Westbound 94 heavy right through the Marquette all the way to Hawley Road. Eastbound, you're looking at backups from 92nd Street to 35th. And then on the bypass heading southbound, we've got delays from the zoo pretty much all the way down towards Lincoln, and then back on the brakes from Oklahoma Avenue down past Beloit Road. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Cloudy tonight with a low of 31 degrees. Rain-snow mix starts tomorrow. The high will be 41. Right now it's 37 degrees in Milwaukee.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, it was another wild day on Wall Street as all three major indexes closed in the red, wiping out big gains to start the day. President Trump saying today that his administration plans to make tailored trade agreements.
We have a lot of countries coming in. They want to make deals. If I told them about making those deals 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 5 years ago, they'd be laughing at us. Now they're all signing up.
The losses have cost investors trillions of dollars since the sell-off on Wall Street began last week.
The president signed an executive order today to expand coal production. He says he's already ordered the federal government to expand mining permits.
Coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. You could drop a bomb on it, and it's going to be there for you to use the next day.
The Department of Energy says coal-fired electricity has become cleaner than ever, but the fossil fuel is still responsible for significant greenhouse gas emissions and environmental pollution.
A federal judge has ordered the White House to restore the Associated Press's full access to cover presidential events. He ruled on a case that touched at the heart of the First Amendment. A U.S. district judge ruled the government cannot retaliate against the AP's decision not to follow the president's executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico.
Crime is trending down in Milwaukee. Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Violent crime is down 18% when compared to the first quarter of 2024. We did see a small increase as it relates to homicides, and that's certainly a concern.
Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman.
For this quarter, there were 2 more homicides than at the same time last year. And as I've always said, 1 homicide is 1 too many.
But the most alarming trend is a 50% increase in human trafficking compared to last year alone.
A program at UW Eau Claire keeps food insecure students fed by bringing food from dining halls to food shelters on campus. Student director with the Student Office of Sustainability, Kristen O'Brien, tells WTMJ Spanning the State.
We will label it with what types of food, possible allergens, and then we will bring that down to our lower campus building where we have an on-campus food pantry called the Campus Harvest Food Pantry. So all those meals will be placed into those freezers, which can then be given to students for free for those who choose to utilize the food pantry on campus.
O'Brien says her office also has an app where students and faculty can host free dinner meals for students.
A Milwaukee-based artist will have his work prominently displayed to those walking across the stage during the NFL Draft.
Ike Winter is relying solely on the natural textures and tones of reclaimed wood to carve out 3x3 mosaics of all 32 NFL team logos.
I spent about 3 weeks straight just finding wood. It was all dressers and entertainment centers.
No added paint, no added stain.
As somebody gets drafted, they're going to walk down the hallway to the stage. These pieces are going to be hanging by division.
Winter estimates he spent over 600 hours working on the project.
Ones that took the longest were the Jaguars and the Buccaneers and the Browns.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
The NFL Draft begins April 24th.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Just 4 games left for the Bucs, including tonight against the Timberwolves. Bobby Portis eligible to return after a 25-game suspension. And it's the Brewers-Rockies at 7:05. That's our coverage. First pitch at 7:35. That's on WTMJ Radio.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time approaching 4:36.
A cancer diagnosis shouldn't mean we can't make plans. It shouldn't mean living without joy or optimism. Cancer shouldn't be calling the shots. At the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Cancer Network, we're pushing to put cancer in its place by pulling together teams of leading specialists and researchers who work tirelessly for breakthroughs, who are developing innovative ways to treat every cancer, to treat your cancer. And by providing the largest cancer clinical trials treatment program in Wisconsin, so there are more treatment options and more reasons to be hopeful. So let's keep innovating. Let's keep discovering. Let's push to make every cancer diagnosis a story of survivorship and bring back the lightness of life that cancer takes away. To learn more about breakthrough cancer care, visit Froedtert.com/cancer.
Got game?
What was the question?
Yeah, we've got game. We've also got...
Swims through his man and lays it in as he knifes his way into the low block.
And...
He'll get to Giannis, and he says, I'll add some more to my tally. Thank you very much.
And who could forget?
Pulls up top of the arc. He got bumped, and he hit the 3. Count that, baby, with another one coming.
Catch every Milwaukee Bucks basketball game all season long on your home for the Bucks. 620 WTMJ, Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
4:37 on WTMJ. I hope that you are having a great day. 36 degrees and sunny in Milwaukee.
All right. The White House is denying a report that a military parade is scheduled for this summer. The reports are, and this comes from the mayor's office in Washington, D.C., that the White House has reached out and said, we want a military parade on June 14th. That's Flag Day. That's the 250th birthday of the Army. It's also Donald Trump's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And the reports are that they want to do a big old parade, like you see in the communist countries, with the tanks in the streets and the missiles, the flyover like you hear there, that's what they want to do. Okay? Last time the president proposed this in 2018, he was roundly criticized because of the cost. $92 million. Yeah, big number, right? All right. I don't want us to pay for it either. I think that's a bad idea. Taxpayers' dollars should not go to pay for the parade. But raise the money through private donations. I mean, let's say it's going to cost $100 million. Elon Musk and his buddies could pay for that today if they wanted to. And if you said that we were going to have a parade, there would be people who would donate and pay for it. So let's take that out of the equation that tax dollars will be used for it. Okay? Let's assume that's not going to happen.
Okay.
Is it a good idea? Do you like the idea of showing off our military hardware, celebrating our armed forces, because I think that's part of this too, telling them how much we appreciate them and love them and show off their stuff? And you know what? It won't be so bad either if we show the rest of the world, don't mess with this, or this is what the hell you're going to be staring at.
855-616-1620. 855-616-1620. Our Citing Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line. Do you want a military parade June 14th? Someone from the 414 just texted disgusting. We had a lot of people that were texting us before. Cost? No. Besides, Donald Trump is making this an authoritarian slant. Another person said, absolutely not. Another stupid idea.
Okay, so let's take cost out of it, okay? Let's assume that taxpayer dollars are not going to be used. Is it a good idea? I love the idea. I say let's do it. Let's show it off. Let's celebrate the military. Let's celebrate what we've accomplished. Let's celebrate that we're the deal. What do you like the idea, or do you not like the idea of a military parade?
Well, I didn't realize that there were some in the past. So, and it was war parades, right? During World War II. I think the first one was in World War I, and then the Gulf War.
After the Gulf War was done, yeah.
Yeah, right in downtown New York. And in the one in World War II, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's head was like going down. Do you want to know, while you look at the talk and text line, what it would have looked like in 2018 when it was poo-pooed?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And it was poo-pooed because of the potential cost of the parade, $92 million. So up to 7,000 service members were to have taken part in the parade. It would have begun at the Capitol and at the White House. The evolution of women in service was about to be highlighted in the parade. And 50 aircrafts would be at the end of the parade. All over.
Right. Yeah. You want to be part of the conversation? 855-616-1620. You can text us. You can call us. It's not going to happen. I can tell you that. It's just,
think so?
I think there's too many obstacles to it. I think, hey, let's take a phone call. Let's work one in here. This is Stacy. Good afternoon, Stacy. You're on WTMJ.
Hi.
Hi. Go ahead. What do you think?
I think it would be a great idea to have a military parade. It's about time that we show our vets we're behind them. You know, let's show off our military. Let's be proud. I mean, that's what our country was built on. You know, they use taxpayers' dollars to use police enforcement during all these pride parades that they have all the time. So why can't we go ahead and go back to our roots and celebrate our military?
I'm with you. I think it's about the flag. I think it's about the military. I think it's on Donald Trump's birthday. Okay, he wanted to do this in 2018, and it wasn't going to be on his birthday. Can people look past that? I think that it's a good idea. Hey, thank you very much for the phone call.
It was supposed to be with the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I in 2018.
Yep. And it's the 250th anniversary of the military, of the Army.
That's incredible.
That's a long, long time. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's Alcohol Awareness Month. We've all heard the statistics, right? Binge drinking in Wisconsin is out of control. We drink too much. Our drunk driving laws are too lax. All of that is true, but there's some interesting statistics related to cancer and alcohol and some other things. Our conversation up next.
From the post-game show to the morning show, there's no rest for baseball and Dominic Cotroneo.
I was like a kid on Christmas Eve. I couldn't sleep last night. I was just so excited to get ready to watch games that count.
Dominic Cotroneo is our Brewers 360 guest every Monday morning at 8:45 on Wisconsin's Morning News.
There are some roster decisions I do want to break down here, and then we'll get into the lineup.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Annex Wealth Management. Not all financial advisors are created equal. Annex Wealth Management wants you to know the difference, urging you to actually know the difference. It's the real difference with Annex. Their teams for investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning are local. They're right here. They're independent, and their teams are woven into the fabric of Southeast Wisconsin. Now's the moment to get real about your financial future. You see what's happening with the markets. There's uncertainty. There's volatility. So Time for a quick gut check. Is your advisor currently a fiduciary? Are they sharp on tax planning? Can they nail your estate plan and ensure your legacy reflects your vision? These aren't just questions. They're the line between real guidance and a sales pitch. You get the real guidance at Annex Wealth Management, and they'll meet you wherever you are on your journey. From Annex Comprehensive Wealth for the full picture, to Annex Private Client for complex needs, to Annex Ignite for a streamlined start, they've got it all. Hit up AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button, book your appointment today. Annex Wealth Management. Several locations. Know the difference with Annex.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW5 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW5. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods.
The all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods, the Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center in New Berlin and Fox Point.
Traffic and then weather. Debbie Lasaga, how are the roads right now?
Well, we got some delays on southbound 43, basically coming from Capitol Drive down past Burleigh, then back on the brakes from North Avenue all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge to the KK River. Northbound slowing from just before the Marquette all the way up towards Keith. Westbound 94, very heavy ride right through the Marquette interchange all the way to Hawley Road. After that, you are good to go all the way into Waukesha County. Eastbound, it's a little bit backed up from 84th Street all the way through to 35th. And then we got the backups on 41. Southbound's going to be slow from Appleton Avenue down past Capitol. Northbound backs up starting at Watertown Plank Road all the way up to about Burleigh. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Here is your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Cloudy tonight with a low of 31 degrees. A rain-snow mix possible tomorrow and Thursday. The high will be 41 degrees. Mostly sunny Friday with a high of 46. Sunny Saturday with a high of 52. Right now it's 36 degrees in Milwaukee.
April is Alcohol Awareness Month. Maureen Busalaki is the director of the Wisconsin Alcohol Policy Project at the Medical College of Wisconsin, and she is with us for the Milwaukee Health Briefing. Maureen, thank you so much for being with us.
You bet. I'm happy to be here.
So we know that part of your work with the Wisconsin Alcohol Policy Project is studying the effects of alcohol and the damage it can do. What are some of the top alcohol-related harms in Wisconsin, besides just the health effects? What are some of the harms that happen to people frequently?
Yeah, we recently did some work with the Department of Health Services and the Falls Free Coalition looking at elderly and their falls, and actually found that people in their 50s to early 60s are some of the highest risk of alcohol-related falls. So that's definitely something people need to take into consideration. Medication and alcohol often doesn't mix. We also see high levels of injury, especially between 15 and 25 in particular, related to alcohol. Of course, we all know about motor vehicle crashes, but we don't always think about the boating crashes, the drownings, domestic violence, railroad crossings, and also it can be a factor in suicides and homicide victims.
Wow. How is Wisconsin ranked when it comes to excessive alcohol use?
So America's Health rankings show us at 47 out of 50. So that means we're looking at binge drinking, which is by far and away the biggest number. And then those with an alcohol use disorder, heavy drinkers, pregnant women who drink, as well as underage drinking. So we tend to be higher in all of those things, and every county in our state is much higher than the national average.
Yeah, those are lists you don't want to be at the top of for sure.
And a lot of fatalities, too. Did you see that? Last year in Wisconsin, the crashes resulted in 156 fatalities and more than 3,000 people were hurt.
Yeah, that's like 8 people being injured every day. It's a lot, and I think we tend to brush it off because it's so quote unquote normal, but it doesn't have to be this way, and that's a great thing. We can change this, and we actually are starting to see a dip in some of the fatality rates. We're not back to pre-pandemic levels, but from 22 to 23, we did see a decrease in the number of alcohol-related deaths.
Maureen, when does the average kid in Wisconsin start drinking?
Before the age of 13, 1 in 6.
Wow.
High school students had their first drink before the age of 13. So that is not a good sign. Alcohol definitely does a certain amount of damage to the brain, and it can lead to poor academic performance. It can lead to social isolation. It can, increase depression and other things. It can also, one of the worst pieces is that it can lead to a substance use disorder later on in life. And so, for example, with the opioid crisis, we can trace that back to people that are starting to drink alcohol early or drinking as a teenager and binge drinking, because teenagers aren't necessarily ones for moderation, and that can really damage not only their health but their mental health, and can lead to, really the kinds of things that we're seeing with the opioid crisis. So we need to pay attention to prevention.
Yes. And the Surgeon General also came out with a huge alarm at the beginning of this year, a report linking alcohol and cancer. Can you talk about that?
Yes. So we've known for many years that alcohol is related to cancer. I think the Surgeon General's report really just put a pin on that for everybody. And, the way of lowering your risk, of course, is lowering how much you drink. So it's important to think about the risk that you have with that. And we know that it's also a factor in breast cancer.
What about in Wisconsin? What types of alcohol-related cancer are most common?
We find liver cancer is the most common alcohol-attributable death in Wisconsin. So it's a carcinogen, and that means it can cause cancer, and any amount of alcohol consumed increases your risk. So we want to encourage people to think about alcohol-free days, maybe an alcohol-free weekend, and think about the impact on your kids. Like if they see you drinking all the time at every event, right, they model us over time. And so just thinking about, taking some breaks from that is helpful, not only for what you're sending the message to our kids, but also for your own health.
And Maureen, is there any positive? Has anything decreased?
Yes, we have seen some decreases in the amount of alcohol-related fatalities, which is great from 2022 to 2023. Again, we have way more to go in order to get back to pre-pandemic levels. And when you look at the numbers, unfortunately, alcohol-related deaths are more than opioid deaths.
Wow.
So and we're doing a lot to reverse what's going on in the opioid crisis. But if you look, there's a couple different types of how we categorize alcohol attributable deaths. Some of them are acute, meaning car crash. You had high alcohol levels for, with a fatal injury or suicide, alcohol poisoning, of course, all of those kind of more immediate things. And then you look, and that's more than opioids, overdose deaths.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add the chronic piece on. And there's 200 conditions from the World Health Organization that cover alcohol-related injuries, disease, and death. And that's where we get to more than double the opioid crisis.
Maureen, you can always find a survey, it seems like, in the medical field that supports your point of view on these sorts of issues. Moderation, we talk about all the time with Dr. John Raymond when he's here on a variety of different things. We talk about moderation. But some articles I read say no alcohol is ever good for you. So my question to you, is moderation good enough, or should people really try to basically not drink?
Well, if you want to really lower your risk of cancer, it would be best not to drink. Again, there's so many things tied to injuries and disease, kind of for, your best outcomes that way, it would be better not to drink at all. Canada recently redid their dietary guidelines, and they were similar to us before, where it was, no more than 1 drink a day or 2 for men, 1 for women. And now they say 2 servings of alcohol a week.
Yeah, that's severely moderating, that's for sure. Maureen Busalaki is the director for the Wisconsin Alcohol Policy Project in the Comprehensive Injury Center at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Maureen, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, coming up during the 5 o'clock hour, workplace engagement is down. Workers are not happy with how things are going. Some interesting statistics. An expert on this sort of communication joins us coming up after 5 o'clock. And then one of our favorite guests, Major Garrett, CBS's chief Washington correspondent, on the economies of tariffs. He's always very thoughtful, well thought out. Major Garrett with us coming up at 5:15 on WTMJ.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Jeff Sherman's weekday The Upswing Show on WTMJ Radio is shifting to weekends only and podcasts. WTMJ AM has yet to announce what will replace The Upswing. Appleton-based brewery Hop Yard Ale Works is opening a second location in Menominee Falls. An opening date will be announced later. The Waukesha City Council approves a financial assistance package to help developer Mandel Group develop 219 apartments across from City Hall. Construction could begin later this year with completion by June 2028. I'm Logan Hansen for MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus promises hope even to the criminal being crucified alongside him. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grob. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. Our brothers and sisters who are imprisoned, sick, or disabled may feel like there is very little hope for them. We are to visit them, provide care for them, and be a sign of Jesus' hope in their lives. It's Lent. Please join us at Mass.
Tell us a little bit about Innovative Signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee. And now you can catch the Brewers on local TV for select Tuesday night games.
Curio sends it deep to left, and there she
It's
goes.
Brew Crew Tuesdays. On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m.
Half swing. He went. Another strikeout for Freddie Peralta.
This Brew Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. See the action on Fox 6 in Milwaukee and check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
Cheese doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. 4-door hatchback.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but a car's not one of them. That national online company makes it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online, plus test drive the vehicle before you buy it. And they're right here to handle any issues.
But the car's stuck. No!
Start your search at adamm.com.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at amazonbusiness.com.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Traffic is sponsored by Hair Construction.
If your home has a septic or mound system, you're invited. Join Hair Construction for a free seminar on keeping it working right. Visit HerrCorp.com for details.
The crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
1-2 pitch, high fly ball, left field, inside the pole, gone, Jackson Churio.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts tonight at 7:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, putting pen to paper to expand coal production.
I'm Julia Fellow. Less violent crimes committed in Milwaukee.
I'm Debbie Lazago. We do have delays southbound 43 from just about Burleigh all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise. Northbound side, about bookends. We're seeing delays over the high-rise bridge through the Marquette up towards Keefe. Westbound 94 heavy out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard, with the eastbound side hitting the brakes just east of 92nd Street. Does not really let up until you get closer to 27th Street. And 41 southbound heavy from Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, increasing clouds, low of 31. Tomorrow, rain, snow mix, a high of 41. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, President Trump signing moments ago an executive order to expand coal production. At a White House event, the president said the coal industry had been attacked for no reason.
With modern technology and all of the other things that we do, it's one of the great forms of energy. That's why other countries, leading countries, are using it, some exclusively.
The Department of Energy says coal-fired electricity has become, quote, cleaner than ever, but the fossil fuel is still responsible for greenhouse gas emissions and environmental pollution.
Wall Street saw another wild day today. For a second day in a row, the major indexes saw a big gain in the morning that were wiped out by the end of the day. ABC's Alexis Christoforous.
A lot of the analysts I spoke to said they'd be surprised if we were able to hold on to those gains, because the volatility is going to stick around as long as we just don't know the end game of these tariffs. And this could be a long, protracted situation. When you're talking about the administration trying to negotiate with dozens and dozens of countries, this is going to take a while.
Investors now bracing for what President Trump calls reciprocal tariffs on countries that retaliated against the first round of U.S. tariffs.
Tariffs are raising concerns for Wisconsin's U.S. senators. TMJ4 chief political reporter Charles Benson tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News how both Senators Ron Johnson and Tammy Baldwin have reacted so far with the tariffs imposed by President Trump.
Is there an overreach? Where are you going with this? What's the end game here in terms of where does the president want to take this? And I think for Senator Tammy Baldwin is that the reaction has already been too much and too concerning for not only dairy farmers, but for manufacturing.
And Senator Johnson is warning of collateral damage for consumers.
In Milwaukee, Police Chief Jeffrey Norman detailing the crime data from the first few months of this year.
Part 1 crime is down 12%. Non-fatal shootings decreased 15%. Carjackings decreased 12%. These are good trends. They should be recognized.
Part 1 crimes are forms of violent crimes like aggravated assaults, arson, carjackings. The most alarming trends were the slight increase in homicides and a 50% increase in human trafficking compared to last year.
The CEO of Harley-Davidson announcing today his plans to retire.
Jochen Seitz is leaving after 5 years with Harley-Davidson. He's 62 years old. He'll remain at the helm until Harley's board identifies his successor. Seitz started in 2020. He owned a condo here but lived in New Mexico. Seitz leaves at a challenging time for the company. Harley had a net loss of $117 million in Q4, and it also now faces tariffs on both aluminum and steel. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Coming up, a resurfaced voice recording from 1955.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:04.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scafidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds. Reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely. And I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
If you love authentic Mexican food, I urge you to visit the Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford today for the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's incredible. It's all your favorite Mexican, and it's just $9.99. That's right, $9.99. Shut the front door. Desserts are buy one, get one free, and kids and grandkids under 5 eat free from the kids' menu today. Free. It's the best Tuesday dining value anywhere. Bring in your team, your hardworking employees, your key clients, your beautiful family. Check out the Mexican buffet. They will love it. The Wednesday all-you-can-eat fish fry is $7.99, a crazy low price. The Mine Shaft breakfast skillets, omelets, and pancakes are huge. Most are $8.99 or less, serving from 7 a.m. Try the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for $9.99. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford, just off the interstate in Oshkosh, right near EAA. Walk on in. MineShaftRestaurant.com, my place to go for big food and big fun. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:06.
A British woman has been reunited with a recording that she made in New York City 70 years ago.
This is 20-year-old Valerie Stannard in a voiceogram, as it was called, recorded on top of the Empire State Building in 1955 and mailed to her parents back in the UK. Fast forward to the present day when record dealer Joel Diaz found the 78 record in a warehouse sale.
It was not just a voiceogram, but the envelope it came in.
He used Facebook to trace Valerie, now living in Vancouver.
It was a little bit frightening. As my daughter put it, I was sounding terribly Downton Abbey-ish.
That daughter plans to meet up with Diaz when she and her husband visit the UK next year. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The Brewers begin a 6-game road trip tonight in Denver against the Rockies. Coverage begins at 7:05 on WTMJ. And Bucks forward Bobby Portis is expected to be back tonight when the Bucks play the Timberwolves at Fiserv Forum.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:07.
All right. Tax tips are brought to you by the Neal Group. For less stress with the IRS, visit nealgroup.net.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. There are 5 filing statuses you can use when preparing your return: single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, and qualifying surviving spouse. Filing status is determined on December 31st of the tax filing year. Each case should be examined to determine the most appropriate status within the tax law. Often, couples in the middle of a divorce believe that they should file 2 returns, but that is not always the case. If the divorce is not final on December 31st, you are still considered married. But there may be a situation where married filing separately makes sense, even if filing jointly gives a lower tax amount. Head of household can be a confusing status. 2 unmarried adults living in the same home may each be able to claim head of household on their returns in certain circumstances. Tax preparers will get the best results for you when asking all of the right questions. For more information on this tip and other tax tips, go to nealgroup.net or stop in and see us.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group. I have a question for you business owners. How do your books look? Are they ready for your tax return to be prepared? Did you and your accountant talk during the year and develop a plan to minimize your tax bill? Or does this sound like you? You can never get a hold of your CPA. Phone calls are not returned and questions are never answered. Your books are a mess and the bank account hasn't been reconciled since last year. You don't get any advice to help you run your business. That's not the case with the Neal Group. We are advocates and partners with our clients to help them grow. We like to work with you throughout the year to keep your books up to date so you run your business profitably. Are you ready to grow your business, improve cash flow, have less stress, and live a better life? We can help. Call us at 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net to book a meeting and see if we can help. The first meeting is free. Don't wait. Do it now. That's 414-325-2040 or nealgroup.net.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News is on the air, broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure and Julia Fellow.
All right, so a headline I recently read said 79% of employees are disengaged at work. 79% are not happy with what's going on. Dennis Holland is the CEO of Quantum Connections. He's an expert in this area, and he joins us on the hotline. Dennis, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That is such a big number. What are the major reasons for this lack of motivation?
Okay, you asked the right question because 79% are disengaged. And the results also say that 76% say their managers' engagement levels affect their own. And that's where this story really comes together, John, is companies have been focused on engagement for more than a decade. So you might ask, why is disengagement at record highs? It's, in our opinion, it's because we're focusing on the wrong thing. Engagement is only a symptom. And when large leaders like Gallup will come out and say more than 50% of employees say they disengage or leave a company because of their boss, what we're not dealing with here is the buzzword of engagement, but we're dealing with a crisis of human connection in the workplace. The place where a leader and her or his employee come together, that's that crucial intersection between what we need as humans in the workplace and the business's success. And we've just launched a study called the Net Connected Research that proves engagement is only a symptom and that you can actually measure human connection and connect human connection to business performance indicators of greater engagement, less turnover, and actually higher profitability. We can now measure that companies that are in connection are 38.7% more profitable than disconnected organizations. Long answer, but you've asked a really compelling question.
And really quick here, what can we do to make them feel more seen? Is it just a raise, and maybe giving a raise will pay off for the company?
See, and the thing is, they've even proven now that raises are not the key issue. And employee engagement, pizza parties, and that is not the issue. What they have to do is they have to find a way to develop better relationships, better and more connected relationships at that crucial intersection. And that is actually what we do as a business, and which is why we commissioned our Net Connected Score research, because if relationship between a human being and a human being is so important, and again, that's something that we were hardwired with when we were born. As human beings, we need to be connected to someone. It could be our friend group, it could be our spouse, our partner, it could be, and it's definitely in the workplace since that's where we spend more than a third of our lives. So it is helping in that relationship where the employee feels seen and heard by their direct supervisor will result in higher engagement, higher productivity, higher innovation, greater collaboration and cohesion, the things that make a team great. And that's what we're lacking. We all come from such different backgrounds now Some of us work in the office, some of us work at home, some of us do both. We've got team members in places halfway around the country, around the globe, different geographies, different languages, different cultures. Trying to bring that all together in today's modern workplace, it's really hard. And the only way to solve this problem is through better relationships between that in that place where human need for connection meets the business success of the organization.
Dennis Holland is the CEO of Quantum Connections. Dennis, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Major Garrett up next.
If you missed this,
Can you talk about how often officers are ending up at schools and how difficult those situations are?
3,100 calls a school year. It was about 17 calls a day.
or this,
Handpicking the press pool. What are your thoughts on that?
I have many, as you might imagine. I've been in the press pool covering the White House, the greatest privilege of my repertorial life.
Catch up on the Wisconsin's Afternoon News podcast at WTMJ.com, presented by Dave Draycamp Heating.
get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guest, Sighting Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. At 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. I love this place. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. At Azura, it's about compassion and empathy. Not that long ago, I was in their place on the North Shore. I love how they take care of people. It's a tough decision when you decide mom or dad or grandma and grandpa need to go live somewhere else. At Azura, they make it easy because they have heart. Many locations in southeast Wisconsin. They're Wisconsin-based and family-owned. They're the real deal. I always say kindness is at the core of Azura. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms. It's Azura.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
This report sponsored by Exterior Pros and Baths. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation. Ready to tackle your home improvement project this spring? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. Visit extpros.com today.
Traffic and weather, then the best in the business, Major Garrett. How we doing, Deb?
Well, it's slow, for sure. We've got some pretty nasty backups going through the Marquette Interchange on westbound 94 all the way past Mitchell Boulevard. Once you get past that, you are good to go all the way to Waukesha County, so you should be good there. On the eastbound side, little pocket of heavy traffic near Brookfield Road, then back on the brakes from 92nd Street to 35th, southbound 43. That's slowing down from Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette and over the high-rise. Back on the brakes from Lincoln down towards Howard Avenue. Northbound is going to be slow through the Marquette as well, all the way up to Keefe. And then 41 southbound, lots of company there from Appleton Avenue down to Capitol Drive. Northbound, heavy from about Mayfair Road all the way up past Burleigh. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast tonight, increasing clouds, a low of 31. Tomorrow and Thursday, almost identical. Rain, snow mix, high of 42. Friday, sunny, 46. Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 52 degrees. Right now, it's sunny and 36. We are joined by CBS Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett. He's also commissioner of the March Madness pool I was just in, where I got smacked down. Major, thanks for being with us.
Well, don't kick yourself, John. I had 4 brackets in my tournament, and my brackets finished a sterling 87th, 95th, 136th, and 165th. Ooh. So out of 175. Yeah. There you go.
Hey, Major, I saw a clip that I was absolutely fascinated by. It was a conversation on your show, your streaming show, with economist Justin Wolfers from Michigan. Boy, did he paint the picture of why these tariffs are damaging in ways that Americans haven't even thought about. What were your key takeaways from what the renowned economist had to say?
So, I asked him, one of the presentations that the White House, through its various spokespeople, the Treasury Secretary, the Chief Trade Advisor, the U.S. Trade Representative, or the Commerce Secretary, say, look, other economies need to buy as much of our stuff as we buy of theirs. And that's just simply not possible because many of our trading partners are poorer than we are. And if we take the things that they make for us and make them here in America, let's say it's T-shirts or sheets or other kind of textiles, which we used to make in the 70s and 80s and largely don't make anymore, then we're taking the income generation from their country away from them, meaning they're a less reliable consumer market, transporting jobs to our country that are no longer going to be done by human beings, largely going to be done through automation. So we're not adding American jobs, but we're taking away from us the ability to export into a market that's viable economically. And he said that's a way to not add jobs in America, or not add very many, and take away markets from us, which will make us not richer, not more employed, but poorer. And he said that's one of the fundamental mistruths about saying that the globalized economy is somehow dramatically unfair to America. And he didn't say this, but it's a number I can't get out of my head, John, which is this. The United States has 5% of global population. It produces and earns and enjoys 25% of global gross domestic product. 5% of population, 25% of GDP.
That's amazing.
That means we are a global economic colossus. Are there imbalances that are irritants in that? Yes. Can they be dealt with? Well, if you're going to deal with China, you have to encourage the Chinese to boost domestic consumption and less exporting. Maybe tariffs are a means to achieve that. But the simple truth is many American businesses, especially of the medium size and the small size, rely on Chinese imports in order to have them here in America for their consumer base. 104% tariff, which goes into effect at midnight tonight, will make those imports to small and medium-sized businesses in our country, if not instantly more expensive pretty soon, in 60 to 90 days. Now, they may have ordered enough inventory to get them through the next month or two. That's called pull-forward inventory, and a lot of American businesses have been doing that. But here's the bottom line, John and Julia, and I've been watching and reading a lot about this. Fortune 500 companies, the biggies, can absorb this, can ride this out in various ways because they have bigger margins, larger cash reserves, and better credit. Medium and small businesses live on very tight margins that are going to be immediately affected by these tariffs. They don't have the credit reserves. They don't have the cash reserves. They are going to suffer and suffer more painfully than the bigger corporations. So I know that a lot of Trump supporters are, Wall Street's panicking. Wall Street's good. Stick it to Wall Street. Okay, but what about Main Street? Because the small and medium businesses are going to feel this first and harder.
Interesting. And Major, there's always a distraction tactic that's always happening. One of them that has pages and pages of comments on our show alone, Major, is the fact that the president may have a military parade on June 14th. His birthday, also the birthday, 250th birthday of the Army. What do you think about that?
Well, it's something that's been percolating through the local media here in D.C. People have been talking about it. Things are always subject to reevaluation. I do know, having covered the first Trump administration, the president has a very strong appreciation for, kind of almost an addiction to, military parades in other countries, in ours. He militarized parades here in ways that the District of Columbia had to stop him from doing because he was going to ruin some of the streets by he wanted all these big tanks rolling through.
Right.
He brought big tanks and armored personnel carriers up to the edge of the Lincoln Memorial. I was there doing a live shot one time for CBS Mornings doing that. They rolled right through my live shot because the president likes all this sort of muscularity for him. And the one thing I would say about it is, Yes, he can order it up as president. Yes, there is some component of our country that would sort of like to have a little bit of rah-rah stuff. But we are, as a country, generally, historically averse. We are temperamentally averse to soaking ourselves in militarism through our civilian leaders. And there's a good reason for that. Because history has taught us that when you blur the lines between civilian leadership and military loyalty, you come closer to something that we don't want to have in this country, which is a dictatorship, and farther away from a constitutional republic. We've had a durable, everlasting constitutional republic for a long time, and we've almost never soaked ourselves in militarism through our civilian leaders.
Major Garrett is CBS's chief Washington correspondent. If you want more perspective on the Trump presidency, check out Major's couple of books, The Big Truth and Mr. Trump's Wild Ride. You can get them on Amazon or wherever you buy your books. Major Garrett, we always appreciate it. Thank you so much for the perspective.
Thanks. Talk next week.
It is 5:24 at WTMJ. Let's check out the markets. Major alluded to the markets, and it was a strange day. The futures were really good last night. Woke up this morning. Everything was up big, big, big. The Dow was up like 1,300 points. And then the realization set in that the China tariffs go into effect at midnight, and the markets went down, down, down. The Dow ended down on the day 320 points. That's 1%. The NASDAQ, the tech-heavy index, was down 335. That's more than 2% on the day. The S&P 500, most closely tied to people's 401ks, that was down 80 points on the day. That was also 1.5%. Annex Wealth Management, financial planning at every single level. Check it out at annexwealth.com.
Save big money on your next staining project right now at Menards. Pittsburgh's ultra-advanced semi-transparent exterior stain and sealant in one can be applied on damp wood, allowing you to clean the surface and stain in one day. Save big on ultra-advanced exterior stain and sealant. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you're in or near retirement, you're facing one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. When to take Social Security. Should you claim it now or wait for a bigger benefit? The wrong decision could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost income. And once you lock in your choice, there's no do-over. The truth is, Social Security is more complicated than most people think. The age you file, your marital status, other income sources, all of it impacts how much you'll receive. And in today's economy with rising costs and uncertainty about future benefits, you need to make every dollar count. At Drake & Associates, we help hardworking Americans make smart decisions about retirement. Income is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap, and we'll help you navigate every turn so you can maximize your benefits and keep more of what you earned. Don't make this decision blindly. Get the facts and a plan today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Inside, you'll learn strategies to help optimize your Social Security, reduce taxes, and create a retirement income plan that works for you. But don't wait. These resources are only available while supplies last. Secure your future today. Text SS to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you retire with confidence.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Sit means sit dog training. They are quite simply the best in the business. I was exasperated. I was like, I don't know, Michelle. We're going to have to get rid of these dogs. They just don't behave very well. Of course, she was like, I'll get rid of you first. So let's go to Sit Means Sit. Let's get it figured out. I did. We started with a free consultation. And guess what? The dogs are better because of Sit Means Sit. They just get it. They understand it. And they help me understand it. It's Sit Means Sit dog training. Start with a free consultation. We did that. You can have a happy, confident, more obedient dog. It's Sit Means Sit.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market, how it affects Wisconsin businesses, and those of us who live here. Sponsored by the original Knowledge Broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Well, last few months, we have had a lot of newsworthy events with an insurance angle kind of to each of them. The stream of events should remind all of us the importance of properly designed insurance programs. Jeff, tell us what you're seeing.
Thanks, Vince. Great to be here. Yes, 2025 is already off to an ominous start. A cyber data breach impacting over 60 million students and teachers, with dozens of Wisconsin districts impacted. Natural catastrophes continue to increase in both frequency and severity of damages. Although Wisconsin fared better than many states, this is no time to be complacent.
So, Jeff, why is that important to people who are listening right now?
Vince, while these events are destructive and expensive, they can be insured against quite easily. When these issues are ignored or handled improperly, they can change your life, drain your resources, maybe destroy your business. Quite simply, a properly designed insurance program has never been more relevant nor more important than today. If you're not getting good guidance from your insurance provider and they're uninformed on these issues, you're jeopardizing your assets, your business, and maybe your future.
A lot of options for insurance out there, Jeff. Why should families or businesses work with R&R Insurance?
Thanks, Vince. We deliver thought leadership around asset protection. It's what we do best. We inform you of where the market opportunities are today. We work with you to best position your account or your company for review by an underwriter. And R&R can get multiple companies competing for your account. It'll cost you nothing to sit down with R&R Insurance. If you're looking for a better insurance purchasing experience, we'd love to sit down and speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Traffic is sponsored by the Heiser Automotive Group. Come in and make that deal. Visit Heiser Automotive Group with 4 convenient locations or online at heiser.com. Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Lincoln, and Cadillac. Today's your day.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 5:30. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, raising concerns of a recession.
I'm Julia Fellow, the person wanted for burglary and armed robbery.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. Still a brutal ride on westbound 94, starting at about 2nd Street through the Marquette all the way to Hawley Road. You're seeing a pretty hefty ride there. It's 8 minutes to get from the zoo into downtown. On good day, it's only about 6 minutes or so. On the eastbound side, slowing down from the zoo all the way to 35th Street. Northbound 43, that's got some serious delays right through the Marquette all the way up to Keefe. Southbound is solid from just south of Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette to about Howard Avenue. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Cloudy tonight with a low of 41 degrees. Rain snow mix tomorrow is possible, a high of 41. Right now it's 36 degrees in Milwaukee.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, more losses today add to trillions in stock market value wiped out over a 3-day sell-off as economists raise concerns of a recession due to the Trump administration's aggressive new tariffs. The White House says dozens of countries have approached the U.S. to begin negotiations. CBS News White House reporter Jennifer Jacobs.
The president told us that he was even musing about having some of those law firms that made deals with him to escape punitive measures that volunteered to offer some pro bono law services, that he would bring them in to help negotiate some of these deals. He said Japan and Korea are flying in to talk to him. We know that the leader of Italy is coming in next week.
Economists continue to say consumers and small businesses will pay the cost of the administration's escalating trade war, though the president and other Trump officials insist it will benefit the U.S. economy in the long term.
The president signed an executive order today to expand coal production. He says he's already ordered the federal government to expand mining permits.
Coal is the single most reliable, durable, secure, and powerful form of energy. It's cheap, incredibly efficient, high density, and it's almost indestructible. You could drop a bomb on it, and it's going to be there for you to use the next day.
The Department of Energy says coal-fired electricity has become cleaner than ever, but the fossil fuel is still responsible for significant greenhouse gas emissions and environmental pollution.
Citing the First Amendment, a judge has issued a preliminary injunction barring the Trump administration from banning the Associated Press from covering White House events.
The judge said the Trump administration can no longer deny the AP access to the Oval Office, Air Force One, or other limited spaces open to other members of the White House press pool until further order of the court. The administration claimed AP was requesting extra special access, but the judge said it was asking to be put on an equal playing field as similarly situated outlets, despite the AP's use of disfavored terminology. The terminology in question was the AP's use of Gulf of Mexico instead of President Trump's preferred Gulf of America. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
A program at UW Eau Claire keeps food insecure students fed by bringing food from dining halls to food shelters located on campus. Student Director with Student Office of Sustainability, Kristen O'Brien, tells WTMJ's Spanning the State.
We will label it with what types of food, possible allergens, and then we will bring that down to our lower campus building where we have an on-campus food pantry called the Campus Harvest Food Pantry. So all those meals will be placed into those freezers, which can then be given to students for free for those who choose to utilize the food pantry on campus.
O'Brien says her office also has an app where students and faculty can host free dinner meals for students.
A local artist is getting his time in the spotlight during the NFL draft. Wood sculptor Ike Winter was hired by the NFL to put together logos of all 32 teams in reclaimed wood. Winters tells WTMJ Spanning the State the process he went through.
I spent about 3 weeks straight just finding wood, not cutting at all. It was while we were in negotiations of the contract and figure out how each of these teams' logos would look in a wood format. And they had to kind of create those renderings of the colors. And while they were doing that, I just collected, it was like 50 pieces of furniture.
Winter's art will be seen as players go through the walkway to the draft stage.
Time for a WTMJ Sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. 4 games remain on the Bucs' regular season schedule, including tonight against the Timberwolves. Bucs forward Bobby Portis is eligible to return tonight after a 25-game suspension. After an off day yesterday, the Brewers are back at it tonight, taking on the Rockies. The injury-riddled pitching staff just got reinforcements after sending prospect to Red Sox in exchange for starting pitcher Quinn Priester. Manager Pat Murphy.
Guys in different environments, different settings, different times in their career act differently. So hopefully you're getting guys at the right time, and hopefully you're getting guys when they're ready to make a jump.
Brewers and Rockies tonight on WTMJ Radio. Our coverage starts at 7, first pitch just after 7:30.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:35.
Shop Beauty Rest Black mattresses at Steinhafels. Right now, the new Beauty Rest Black is only $42 per month when you use Steinhafels 60-month financing. Plus, get up to $300 in Steinhafels cash. Shop in-store or online at steinhafels.com.
There's a lot of buzz surrounding the NFL draft, right? It's coming up, but you won't find a draft seeping through Pella's windows and doors. No, never. In fact, you should make Pella your number one pick because right now you can take advantage of no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. You've got a few weeks. This is a great deal. You get the stuff, you pay nothing with no interest. Make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. We've got stuff coming to our house. It's got the shades between the glass. I am super excited about that. Talented designers, top-tier installers. They can match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and much more. And those durable and distinguished details as Pella products stand the test of time. That's why at Pella, they confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry. A lot of the product is made right here in Wisconsin. So don't miss out on no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Pella will take care of you like they're taking care of us. Certain restrictions apply. Deal ends April 30th, so place your free in-home consultation today. They come right out. They did this with us. Sat down at the kitchen table. You walked through everything. We showed them the house. Check it out, PellaWI.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
All right, let's bring in the chief. Meteorologist Brian Niznansky is with us. If you want to see Brian, you can always text the word watch to 855-616-1620. You can see his handsome face. Niz, thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. At least the sun was shining today.
Yes.
Still chilly, but
Still
a better
chilly
day than yesterday.
But, 38 and sunny is a lot different than 45 and cloudy and drizzly.
Sunburn.
Totally.
Yeah, you can get a sunburn at the same time as being cold.
It is what it is. That is true. And it's crazy. My car was parked outside all morning and midday in the driveway, and I got in it, and it was actually like toasty in there. It's like you go in. That sun has some power to it this time of year, which is also a reminder if you're someone who works outside or is planning on being outside for a longer period of time, even when it's 38 degrees, that doesn't change how potent the sun, the UV rays are this time of year. So make sure, like if you are outside for a while, like I know I'll go watch, my girls play soccer, like put on the sunscreen.
Yep.
I mean, just because it's cold doesn't mean that the sun isn't strong this time of year.
Good reminder. What is the average high this time of year?
It's in the 50s.
Oh, wow.
I want to say like 52, 53 for today. So, yeah, we're a ways behind. We're falling behind here a bit. And it looks like tomorrow we're in for not only colder temperatures still, but maybe a messy afternoon. Could see some rain and snow. In fact, I think it's pretty likely we're going to see some rain and snow. And I wouldn't be shocked. Some of the computer models are hinting at like high enough intensity of precipitation that the atmosphere like cools itself and we end up getting maybe a little bit of accumulating snow again. I wouldn't be shocked at this time tomorrow. We're dealing with some pretty slushy conditions across southeastern Wisconsin. We put a map together for now, a trace to 2 inches. I think that 2 inches is going to end up being a very narrow band somewhere. It's just hard to pinpoint exactly where that sets up. So kind of TBD on the exact location. I think most locations will have less than that, but there could be a local band that picks up, a decent amount of snow.
Ooh, okay. Hey, there was a controlled burn that happened earlier today, Niz. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Why do they do that?
You talking about the one that's right along the lake?
Yeah,
Discovery World?
Yep.
Yeah, so they do, that is, of some natural lands there. That is, kept, I believe, state park, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And they try to keep things as natural as they possibly can. However, when you do keep things natural, it is important to kind of burn off a lot of overgrown winter brush. Like it's kind of like thinning out a forest, right? Like where you hear out west, they properly or not properly thinning out a forest. As far as I know, it was a prescribed burn to kind of thin out the vegetation there and eventually, just make things safe and more landscapable.
All right, lead us through the forecast, Niz. What are we looking at tonight and the next several days?
Yeah, so for tonight, again, we're looking at quiet conditions, increasing clouds, 31 degrees, the low temperature. For tomorrow, things get messy again. Just a stray rain shower in the morning. Look for things to pick up in the afternoon. And it's a pretty tricky forecast, not to mention the warmer ground temperatures. This area of low pressure, develops on top of us. It's not like we're going to stare down a swath of precipitation to the west. So tricky forecast, but I do think around an inch of slushy accumulation certainly possible, maybe locally higher amounts, a high of 41 degrees on Thursday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow showers, 42. Friday, mostly cloudy, 46 lakeside, 53 inland. And then Saturday, better, sunny, 52, inland, 58 degrees.
All right, Brian Niznansky. Hey, one more thing, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Nice. Happy birthday to one of our very favorite people. Julia is chair dancing here in the studio.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I thought you were going to let me go without it. I wouldn't have been disappointed.
Brian, how old are we?
Yeah, how old?
43 degrees.
What?
You look fantastic. 43, that's great.
Yeah, 43 years old. I did on the 7-day forecast. I had 33 for the low tonight, and I was like, that's my age. I saved 10 years off of my life. But no, 43. Feeling good, except for when you think of things like 25 years ago graduating high school.
Yeah, you're right.
Sad.
Some of those little things kind of sneak up on you. Can I say to him what I say to all my buddies when it's their birthday?
What?
I think I can say this on the air, right? Niz, I hope you get everything you want for your birthday twice. That wasn't
Depends
bad,
on
right?
what's twice.
That's right. Are you doing something special with your little girls? Are you getting home for dinner? Are you?
I have if you're watching on YouTube right now, I have a sweet bracelet that my daughter made me already.
That's
pretty nifty. They're apparently picking up crumble cookies for tonight.
Ooh.
And
That's great.
I get to pick the meal, and I was going to go between frozen pizza and pigs in a blanket, so I'm going to go with both.
Yes!
Let's go.
Oh, gosh.
Do everything twice.
That's right. You can do it today.
There you go. There you go.
It's your day. Happy birthday, Niz.
Happy
We appreciate
birthday.
you so much.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, it is 5:43. Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for CertaPro Painters for your home or your business. They came out, did the exterior of our house. The team walked around the entire house with me, pointed out a couple spots that I needed some extra work done. I didn't even realize it. The team's at CertaPro. They've got your back. Call and ask about their spring sales event going on now through May 15th. It's CertaPro Painters, the best in the business. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. It's CertaPro Painters. Took care of me, they'll take care of you. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Julia Fellow here for Just Between Friends, Milwaukee County. Woo! It's happening this Thursday, this week. It's one
Let's
of the
go!
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. Beat Inflation. It's one of the largest pop-up shops. It's where you can get gently used newborn to teen clothing and kids gear, all the kids gear you can think of, and toys, starting at half off the retail price. Half off to 90% off. The sale's coming up on Thursday, April 10th, runs through Sunday, April 13th at the Wisconsin State Fair Park's Expo Center. Get tickets now and learn more at milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com. Bring the grandparents, parents, aunts, and uncles. Get tickets now at milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com.
Do you enjoy researching sofas before you buy?
No.
Do you compare product ratings?
No way.
Are you interested in knowing everything about your new sofa?
Absolutely not. I just want the best sofa, period.
Sounds like you want the SB261 sofa from Penny Mustard.
If it's the best sofa, then yes, that's the one.
It's our #1 bestseller.
Fine.
The SB261 sofa has a classic, exquisite look.
Great.
I've never heard anybody say a negative word about it.
I'm sold.
If the SB261 sofa was in high school, it would be voted homecoming queen and king.
I'm ready to buy.
5 stars, A+, and everyone's thumbs are up.
Stop talking and take my money.
The SB261 sofa, American made with solid wood frame, individual seat springs, unsmooshable Qualex Ultra Foam, and thousands of fabric and leather options, starting at $29.30 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
The best versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
There's only one store that gives you every possible choice in diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Let's get you where you need to safely with our Debbie Lossiger. Hey, Deb.
Hey there. All right, northbound on 43, backing up out of the Marquette all the way up to Keefe, so heads up with that. The southbound side's backing up right through the Marquette interchange, but that'll take you all the way down to Howard Avenue. Westbound 94, 2nd Street's where you hit the brakes all the way through the Marquette to Hawley Road. Eastbound is going to be slow from 92nd Street to 27th. And then on southbound 41, backing up from Silver Spring to Capitol, northbound slowing down around the North Avenue curve up to Burleigh. I'm Debbie Lozigo with your WTMJ Time Saver Traffic.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News podcast is sponsored by Dave Drake Camp Heating. Your comfort is their family's tradition. Visit DaveDrakeCamp.com.
All right, we're talking tariffs, we're talking national security, we're talking funding for stadiums. I had a conversation with U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman earlier today. Want to talk to you first off about what everybody's talking about, and that is the tariff situation. What is your general view about where we are with the tariff situation in our nation?
I do not want tariffs to become a significant source of revenue for the United States, okay? I have heard within the last 48 hours, I've talked to a couple of industries who like the tariffs. And until then, overwhelmingly business was opposed to the tariffs. I do think the tariffs could act like a national sales tax. It would be a problem. I think the reason we're a wealthier country than Europe is in our country we only tax income. In Europe, they tax both income and sales, which would be a problem. On the other hand, on a case-by-case basis, there's no question we've been getting the unfair share of the stick from other nations around the world. Okay, I talked to a metal fabricator, and they were sure that Vietnam was subsidizing their metals against us. So they were being treated unfairly, and I think on those type of things, Donald Trump can, on a case-by-case basis, make a case that they have to roll back their tariffs. So I guess if we're dialing back other people's tariffs, that's good. If we're just going to have blanket tariffs on every other country in the world or every other product in the world, it's going to increase inflation, and that we don't need.
Was it too much for the president to just come in with the hammer and say every single country's getting it, as opposed to what you just suggested, which is maybe case-by-case basis?
Well, I think what he'd say, and Donald Trump is looking out for the average guy. You'll notice everything he does compared to a more traditional politician is for the average guy. He's trying to gin up more jobs for the American worker, and that's his goal. And I think he's setting a high starting point for all these countries, and he wants to work its way down. If he works it on its way down and we wind up having no tariffs whatsoever between, say, the United States and Taiwan, that's a big victory for the United States. And that's where I hope we wind up.
What do you say to the average guy who's worried about his 401k or nervous about the stock market?
The stock market doesn't like uncertainty, right? And there's going to be uncertainty because nobody's fought for this type of thing before. It's not like we have a precedent. So a lot of people, because of the threat of uncertainty, they say don't buy stocks right now. But we'll see what this looks like a month from now or 2 months from now when we know exactly what Donald Trump plans on doing with these tariffs.
U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman is with us. I wanted to ask you about another measure that you're introducing that would stop paying for professional sports stadiums to build or renovate using public money. I'm surprised at how many of these projects really have public money involved. Tell me the impetus behind your bill.
Well, the owners of these sports teams are at least multi-hundred millionaires, and in some cases, probably in most cases, even trillionaires. What we're doing is we're allowing them to borrow money at lower rates than the average citizen would borrow money by taking advantage of the tax code in which it's not taxable if you have municipal bonds. And in essence, stadiums like the Brewers Stadium were paid for that way. I don't see any reason for the taxpayer to subsidize, put an additional subsidy on there on building these stadiums. I mean, why, of all the people who need help here in the tax code, why are we having, in essence, special provisions which give breaks to the billionaires who own these stadiums? So we want to get rid of that. I think it's a common sense thing. I think Donald Trump wants to do it. He's talked about we've had too many breaks for the owners of these teams. So if he's on board, we got a shot. On the other hand, some congressmen are kind of starstruck, and if they get a call from owners of their favorite sports team, maybe they'll buckle.
Green Bay, it just came out today, has put $1 billion in the stadium up there and into the area around there. They say without help, they wouldn't have been able to do that. How do you respond to that?
They may need help from the local taxpayer. They shouldn't be getting help on a national level by causing the interest that they pay to be less than the interest than the average guy pays in his house or the average business pays. And, I mean, stop and think about it. I mean, to a degree, all sports stadiums are going to be affected by this, or all sports teams. Of all the businesses that need special treatment, and I'm gung-ho for manufacturing, I'll tell you that. Do you need special treatment for a business that's owned by trillionaires and whose employees are making $10 or $20 million a year? It seems ridiculous. Oh, we can't exist. Come on, give me a break. People are going to stop watching the NFL. They need a special tax break to keep going. They're pulling our leg.
Congressman, I know another thing that you've worked hard on is the student loan bailout situation. President Biden, when he was in office, wanted to wipe away a lot of debt. You want to protect taxpayers from that happening. Tell us about the Student Loan Bailouts Act.
Well, we want to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. We think we're going to still prevent a lot of what President Biden did by winning in court, but we're not always going to win in court. And there are some types of loan forgiveness that he put in there, loan forgiveness, say, for people working for the government and that type of thing. This is very costly. And Congress, who's got to deal with a budget in which we're right now borrowing 26% of everything we spend, Congress should have to sign off on this stuff.
And I want to end where we began, and that is with the conversation about the economy. Are you nervous with all the uncertainty and what's happening?
I'm a little nervous until we see how it shakes out. I think everybody's a little bit nervous. But like I said, I met with a businessman, a representative of a very sizable Wisconsin business just 15 minutes ago. And he was almost surprisingly positive on the tariffs and the effect it will have on American manufacturers competing with other businesses abroad. So there are pluses and minuses. I think we're going to see a lot more certainty in the next 2 months as to where we're going to wind up. I don't want it to become a long-term tax on the American people used to balance the budget. That would be a mistake. On the other hand, if it's used to drive down other companies' tariffs, which President Trump assures us it will, I think that's good. I think if it's used to deal with Mexico and stop our drug problem, that's good. And I think we're going to know a lot more where this winds up in 4 or 5 weeks from now, and I think overall it's going to be a positive thing. I'm not worried about short-term changes in the stock market because the stock market doesn't like uncertainty, and you're going to have uncertainty whenever you change things.
That is U.S. Congressman Glenn Grothman on WTMJ.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Jeff Sherman's weekday The Upswing Show on